Nama leaned forward again and grabbed a ripe green mallet. Glancing over the room, she pulled back and carefully passed her wrist over her father's cup, the most ornate one on the table, and allowed the vial's powder to fall into the intoxicating beverage. After replacing the cap on the poison, she bit into the crispy fruit and grinned.
Father, today your pride will serve me well.
She cupped the mallet with both hands.
Soon you'll be avenged too.
Holding her head high, she exited the room and returned to her private chambers, where she closed the door behind her and placed the tiny container back into her hidden pocket. Allowing a slight chuckle to escape her mouth, she whispered,
Goodbye, Father.
God, reading it out loud, you really, everything's so over-described. I didn't remember all of those. She returned to her chambers, closed the door, placed her thing in the pocket. We don't need to know where the vial ended up. It's okay.
It's over and under-described at the same time. Because the chalice is it's super ornate, you guys.
Right.
It's really ornate.
It's so ornate.
It's so ornate.
It's the most ornate thing in the world. Robert Jordan says you can know a lot about a character by what they drink out of.
Uh-huh.
Because, the cup of a king would be very ornate.
And he's prideful.
Oh my God, this is genius.
It's all coming together. What pop song do you think would be playing as she did that?
Ooh,
I'm thinking Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay. I was gonna go straight for Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Oh, that's good too.
Obviously.
That's a better one for her, I think.
Intro Ebo ad altare Dei bros. I'm a surfer, I guess, because this is our beach episode. You want to know why it's our beach episode, Jay?
Why?
Because it's time for the historically attested worldwide flood. Let's go! Soon, SBU campus is going to be waterfront campus.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have been very sinful, and it is time for our recompense.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third book in the Remnant Trilogy brought to us today by Tim Chafee and K. Marie Adams, who have vexed us so much in the past. I need to stop wearing these sunglasses because they're making it so hard to see in this room. But I'm sunned up. Get your swim trunks, get a breeding pair of every animal that you love, and let's build this freaking ark, bro. I'm so excited.
I really like how you dodged any controversy by saying historically attested worldwide flood and not global flood. That was very tactful of you given our target audience.
I was so happy when this won our supporter poll. I was like, oh, I remember these books so fondly. This is going to be so much fun. I'm going to really enjoy myself. And I did for a very small period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't. And I remembered why these books are terrible and horrible beyond what's already terrible and horrible about what they are trying to set out to do.
Yes.
Just in terms of craft.
Right. Oh, it's funny. I feel like you have this experience often where at the beginning of a novel, you fall in love with it,
mm-hmm.
and then by the end, I don't know, I guess it doesn't fulfill all the promises it makes,
right.
Something along those lines.
Maybe it's my attention span.
Maybe it's your attention span, your skibbity attention span.
My skibbity attention span, because I'm reading off of my skibbity iPad, so I'm just going back and forth.
Maybe it hits you that these books are trying to usher in an era of Christofascism in our nation.
That might be a part of it. So if you don't know, you probably should, because a lot of this series just kind of builds upon itself, so you might want to watch the other ones if you feel
almost
like
a chronological series of stories.
Like a chronological series of stories. But these people were the creative director and a visual artist, or they were involved in the making of this crazy theme park for young earth creationists, where they have a life-size recreation of the ark.
That's right.
Tim Chafee specifically calls himself an apologist,
mm-hmm.
a term that I kind of question even him being what he is. So there's a lot to this. Content warning if you're not cool with this much of religious discussions.
Yeah.
We're not gonna attack organized religion itself, but here at SBU, we kind of think that the world is a little bit more than 6,000 years old.
A little bit.
So
We'll try not to go full Soyina Rimbad.
we'll try so
but by
hard.
necessity, we might have to quibble with some of the rhetorical aims and claims made by this
Right.
series.
I hope you guys will enjoy. I enjoyed a good bit of this book, and we'll jump right into it.
Let's do it. Do we need to recap anything from the first two books?
Last time on SBU, in the beginning, yada, yada, yada. So this is I call it a YA fantasy, but read like Aragon or The Wheel of Time versus necessarily Romantasy.
Yeah.
Retelling of the early years to like right before the flood
Yes.
of Noah's life. So the authors, and this is kind of cool for the SBU conceit, is they say with like a lot of like postscripts and prescripts that they are walking this very fine line where they don't want to add or redact scripture. So they're trying to imagine what his life may have been like, literally making speculative fiction about this guy in a Bible literalist sort of sense.
These people believe the earth is about 6,000 years old, that Noah was a real man, that his wife was a real woman, that their children and their children's wives literally boarded an ark that had these exact specific spatial proportions.
Right.
And they are trying to fill in the gaps in this like 3-chapter long Bible story,
Yeah.
but without upsetting their target audience of fellow Bible literalists who may have also filled in the gaps in different ways.
Right.
So they are walking a very, very fine line, and we'll probably talk more about that later.
Oh yes, we will. So the preceding two books are incredibly boring.
Right.
Watch our episodes. Like I think we said interesting things, or at least packaged the thing in a way that is listenable, but they are very, very hard to get through. It feels like well-to-do little kids at youth group, like practicing manners.
Yes.
Noah loves building boats and he loves his wife, and that's about all there is.
Pretty much.
There's an evil queen named Nama, well, an evil princess named Nama, who is evil and worships, I guess, literally the
devil from the Bible.
Literally the devil from the Bible, the serpent Nakash. And there in between there are some dinosaurs. It doesn't matter. So Noah's older. His hometown of Iri Geshem has fallen to these Satan worshippers, these Havilites, and he has just escaped a terrible gladiator fight where he was supposed to fight a Ceratosaurus. It was not a T-Rex. I'm so sorry. I forgot that the horned. To be fair, Grindex are the name of the kind. So that's just theropods. So there are Grindex named in the book, and I confirmed with the appendix that they are T-Rexes. Okay. But the dinosaur in book 2 is a Ceratosaurus. I've been proven wrong, and I'm a moron. But anyways.
Okay.
And now the evil evil king Lamech owns Iri Geshem and is poised to take over the entire world.
So basically, in the course of the second book, we still had not gotten anywhere near the flood. Instead, we had spent all of our time watching Noah's hometown of Iri Geshem kind of fall into what this book wants us to believe is like decadence.
Yeah.
Basically, people are less religious and they are poor and they live in tent cities, and that makes them bad people, I guess. Or maybe the types of people who naturally are predisposed to live in tent cities in this book's conception are attracted to Iri Geshem because it's become more permissive. The politics are deeply saddening.
Yes.
But by the end of the second book, Havil, which is the home of Nama and her family, Nama being the evil princess, they have like fully taken over Iri Geshem.
Yes.
And so we start the third book right in the aftermath of that.
It's the all is lost moment.
Right. So we open actually on Nama.
Let's go. Some of the best like fantasy writing that I've read in a long time has been in like these first 3 chapters.
Yeah.
With Nama just like stewing in evilness and doubt and cruelty.
Nama is interesting because she's really the only character that has genuine interiorities. Like, she considers alternative perspectives and, like, is emotionally affected by the impacts of trying to change her own mind about things. Whereas all of the creator-worshipping characters are limited by the book's rhetorical endpoint, where they must always return to where they started, which is like, oh, actually, God is right about everything and everything's going to be okay. Like, they always have to cut off their own thinking with those thought-terminating cliches, but Nama is free to stew.
Yes.
And that is very much to her and to the book's benefit in terms of it being intriguing. She's mourning the death of her brother, Tubal-Cain, who was the prince of Havil.
Yes.
And he was aligned with Noah and his family and, like, the other righteous good guy characters.
Yeah, he converted to creatorism.
Right, but he was killed in the arena that we previously mentioned because he refused to bow down to their father, Lamech, as he was basically tormenting everybody in the city by making the righteous characters like fight in a gladiator ring.
Yeah, it's something like the VeggieTales thing with the bunny.
With
I
the
think
bunny,
the exact same thing happened in that.
Right, I think it's trying to foreshadow, because it's not the only time in the series that they like foreshadow later Bible stories.
Yeah,
which is cute. Which is cute. Yeah. Thinking about the death of her brother, Nama commits herself to kill Lamech and ascend to the throne as the queen of Havil / Iri Geshem, which I guess would be just like greater Havil.
Sure. Yeah. She just wants more power. She's stewing on this little plan. She is like fanatically devoted to Nakash at this point.
Yeah.
She has this little Darai minion who called the Seer, who like teaches her all these dark arts, and he's like, ooh, we're going to conquer the world.
Yep.
And she has some like generals or commanders who are loyal to her, and then Ashur, who was this innkeeper in Noah's town who became evil for no reason, is just like running around and like almost catches her trying to poison something. It's crazy.
Yeah. She has a crush on Noah as well, which is kind of an important detail, because in the previous book she's tried to like tempt him with her feminine wiles,
right?
But he, being a righteous, upstanding man, always turns her away. So she's humiliated that Noah has rejected her yet again towards the end of the previous book. She's grieving her brother. She decides to kill her dad. In order to get away with that, she goes to like a dinner party that he's having, and she tries to like goad him into hitting her so that she can stab him in self-defense. And this almost works, but then they're interrupted by guards breaking the news that Iri Geshem is being marched upon by an enemy force, a nearby country called the Nodites or Nodites. I don't know how to say it.
I've always heard it said as Nod, so I would assume Nodite. I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds right.
So the Nodites are at the gates, not literally, figuratively at the
Almost
gates.
At the gates.
They're over the horizon, sort of looming.
A group of people who we didn't know about until like the end of book 2.
Right.
So I guess they're just here now. They're also evil, but like a different kind of evil.
They're like one of these original people groups, I guess, like the Havilites, like the people of Iri Geshem. That, I mean, there's not a lot of people on the planet at this point. So they're descended from Adam and Eve, but they don't worship the creator like people of Iri Geshem formerly did. I don't think we actually know who or what they worship. Presumably something.
Big nod.
They're a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. I'm sure we'll talk about that more later. Nama's dad, King Lamech, goes to a war council, and it's at this point that she poisons the cup that's going to be brought to him while he is in this big meeting. This actually just works. Like, she just poisons it, and he drinks from it, and she's like, haha, your pride has gotten the better of you, because he insists on drinking from this, like, ostentatious chalice or something like that.
I knew you'd choose the one with the jewels.
Right. She, like, tricked him by using those same mind games that work in that one Jackbox game where you can poison the chalice.
Oh, yeah.
You know the one about the serial killer.
The one that you're talking about.
But he doesn't drink enough to actually die, so he falls into, like, a sickness and, like, a sort of a temporary coma or something like that. But in the meantime, Nama uses this opportunity to, like, realize, quote unquote, that he's been poisoned and fill this power vacuum and say, like, I'm going to lead the war council.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to the bottom of who tried to kill my dad, and everybody's going to listen to me. And everybody's just kind of so in shock by her doing this that it kind of just works, which is pretty cool. Like, it's a clever little ploy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much justice the summary is going to do here, but throughout all of these scenes, there's so much tension because, you know, she's evil, but Lamech's evil in a different way. So you kind of want her to win, but she's also still a bad guy. So you just kind of want to see what happens.
Right.
And she has all these try-fail cycles, and she thinks and she prays to the creator in ways that are not just, oh, please remove all doubts from my mind. She's like, give me strength, please give me strength. You know, it's very...
it's kind of harrowing.
Pathetic.
Pathetic.
It's very pathetic.
Slash pause.
Because it's so cool. Genuinely, these are such fun chapters.
There's tension and there's stakes, and we don't know what's going to happen because this stuff isn't from the actual Bible story.
Right.
So really, it could be anything, you know, like the Bible doesn't say whether there's a King Lamech at this stage or whether there's a Princess Nama at this stage.
Right.
So genuinely, he could die, or she could be found out and killed, or she could ascend to the throne, but he's still alive and sort of lingering in the background and just poised to wake back up again.
There are literally three possibilities.
But there's at least possibilities.
There's
right?
more than one or two.
There's
yes,
at
you're
least
right.
possibilities.
You're right.
Okay. Nama assumes power and meets with like her general and that aforementioned evil innkeeper guy who's on the Iri Geshem Council, and they get ready to, like, I don't know, fight the Nodites, defend Iri Geshem from the Nodites. We don't really know yet.
No.
At this moment, we sort of switch perspectives over to Emzara. Emzara is Noah's wife.
Yes.
She likes animals, and she likes to paint, and she likes to paint animals. Not paint on them, but like paint pictures.
Pictures of it, like a Pokédex.
Like a Pokédex.
She also likes being a wife. Don't forget that.
She loves to be a woman.
Loves to be a woman. So there's a lot to her character.
There's a lot going on.
This was one of the boringest chapters ever, and I think every time there are a couple interesting Noah chapters, but every Noah Imzara chapter is so incredibly boring. I think she's literally just sitting here waiting around for Noah. There's a bunch of characters like Perlek. Is Perlek there?
Yes. Okay.
So many characters.
So Noah's not there yet.
No,
because all the main characters got split off from each other at the end of book 2. So Emzara, Perlek, and some other people. Perlek is a son of Tubal-Cain, for what it's worth. So like he has a family connection to Nama, which on paper is interesting. So Emzara and Perlek are sheltering in the woods outside of Iri Geshem by the river. Perlek is gravely wounded, and Emzara is tending to him while some other minor characters are keeping watch. I'm gonna have to say, while some other minor characters are doing blah 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 a lot, because the second book introduced so many minor characters, and this book introduces many more, and it's really hard at any given moment to keep track of who's mattering and who is not mattering, especially given the fact that we know going into this book that the only characters who make it out alive are Noah, wife, Noah's sons 1 through 3, and Noah's son wife 1 through 3.
That part,
and that's it.
So I know it's not literally, because I'm sure if I just read closely and forced myself to care about these people who are going to die, I would be able to tell who's in a scene. But it felt exactly like what I was saying about Nova's playlist, where 2 people will be having a conversation and then a third person will be there and usually die, and I'll be like, oh, they were there.
Right.
It
just feels like a smear of faces.
Yeah.
It's really hard to keep track of. So Emzara, Perlek, and some side characters are kind of like hunkered down, waiting to see what's gonna happen. I want to flag that Perlek is gravely wounded, because we now have 2 opening chapters where we have like a familiar major character, and then we have a gravely wounded character, and we're gonna have a third one in a second. And I feel like there's an opportunity for some interesting parallelism there that's not really being capitalized upon. Like, I don't think it's there intentionally right now, but it could be retooled into something that means anything. Then we flip over to Noah.
Let's go. His only interesting moment.
Do you want to take this?
Very vaguely. So Noah and some people who may or may not matter.
Elam.
I think an old lady and a girl. And there's a guy. Is there a guy there?
I think Elam is a guy. Okay. And there's a little girl.
There's a little girl.
They've been captured.
Yeah, Elam. Okay. So they've been captured by the Nodites.
Yes.
And there's this like lower general, I guess a general, and he's like, who are you, Noah? Blah, blah, blah. I don't care about your creator ways. I just want to get that city. And then the whole time, Noah's like, well, my city has fallen, so do I want to like defend my city? Do I defer to my patrimony, or do I understand that the world that I know is gone? Anyways, somehow he gets brought to the commander Ishtanunk.
Iredell.
Ishtanunk is one of the forms of God in Hungarian.
Okay.
Okay, so Commander Iredell, they get brought up in chains or ropes, hempen ropes or whatever.
Yeah.
And the commander's this evil guy. He's like, well, Noah, I promise to not kill you as long as you guide some of these very suspicious looking soldiers into a place where you can be alone, to this secret tunnel that you say can help us gain access to the city for the siege.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I promise they're not gonna kill you. No betrayal would ever happen. Here, go with this guy who was about to kill you and some of his soldiers. They go into the tunnel and they find the entrance to the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower general guy is like, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Here's a seal of approval from the Nodites that promises to not attack
kill you, and also will release your friends now.
Right. Which I know I phrased that as if it were bad, but when like he didn't be like, here's your reward, Noah, and then like stabs Elam or someone. Like I was like, this is so great. Like this is so much fun because it raises questions about, okay, we knew the Nodites were evil because they practice some sort of child sacrifice. They do something like the Havilites do that is bad, like of one of those unequivocally, shockingly bad things. But here they are honoring like a treaty, a pact that they've made. So are there levels of evil?
Right.
Are we going to see more of the Nodites?
I mean,
later?
Noah literally led a strike force into a secret tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
They could kill him and no one would probably ever find his body, because basically nobody knows where this tunnel is except for Noah and the old lady to whose house it connects for some reason.
Right, but it just delights me that they did this. It proves my puritanical rant that I did in Divergent correct when I was like, we just need to stop killing people, because not killing people was the most interesting thing the Nodites could have done in that moment.
Yeah.
And Noah just leaves.
He just leaves. He betrays the city that like kind of has betrayed him, over time, steadily, not like in the one single dramatic way necessarily, but like has turned on him.
Fallen away from his good graces.
He's like, well, this isn't the place I knew anymore, so like maybe it's better. It's already in the Havilites' hands, so maybe it's just as fine, or maybe even better if the Nodites get control of it.
Lesser of two evils. Yeah. And that question is in Noah's mind, and he's doing the Nama thing where he actually has a character and he thinks about things this one time and never again.
Because he prays about it. He's like, God, did I do the right thing? And then, God doesn't actually answer him.
Right.
He's just sort of like, oh, God says that I did what I could do or whatever. And now I don't have to think about it anymore.
I don't have to think about it
Loop
anymore.
closed.
Let's go. So he just fucks off. He and his little friends, of course.
Yeah, he and his little friends, they take off into the woods to look for Zara. We then shift back over to Nama. She and Nivlak, who is that... Nivlak. I'm sorry, it's my first time saying it out loud, I think. She and Nivlak.
My buddy, Nivlak.
Nivlak is one of those, like, minor guard guys that, like, is loyal to her that Andrew was talking about. So they're basically like sitting alone in her room, like shaking their fists at the fact that King Lamech like didn't die. I guess Nivlak is like the Spike to Nama's evil Twilight Sparkle.
He's kind of a homunculus.
He is sort of a wretched homunculus. So feel free to imagine him as like purple or something.
I'm already all over that.
So apparently Nivlak was like in on that whole scheme to kill Lamech, which like wasn't stated to us previously, I don't believe. Like he just also knew that was going to happen. So I was like confused there for a second because they're talking about it as if they had been planning it for a long time, but like as far as we knew, Nama just decided to do it right then because of the whole Tubal Cain being killed thing.
There was something, he likes to give these grand statements about how you're my princess and I would follow you no matter what. I think there might have been some hint about that to be charitable to our authors, but I don't know. Sure. I defer to your interpretation.
It's whatever. It doesn't really matter. The main thing that happens in this scene is they do this really fucking cool blood ritual.
Yes.
So basically, Nama injects herself with some kind of like venom that at lower doses is like a psychedelic to commune with Nakash, who is the serpent / the devil from the Bible. And while she is tripping, Nama says this prayer, And I think that this is one of the first places that this book stumbles bigly. Because in form and content, this prayer is virtually indistinguishable from the kinds of prayers that Noah and his ilk will say to the creator.
Sure.
They just like control F creator and substitute in Nakash.
That's control H if you're doing that.
But you find it first, right?
Yeah, but control H is find and replace.
Oh,
anyways.
Okay, you can like cut down your shortcuts.
I'm
learning today.
That's
this
some
is amazing.
Microsoft Word tips from SBU English Club.
Thanks. That's really going to speed up my productivity. Yeah, so I think that this is a problem because it's a missed opportunity to show us like how these spiritual practices are really different, and to further the book's own wretched rhetorical ends, like, I don't know, make the prayer more evil so that we're more inclined not to think that Nakash is like the same as the creator, because having this prayer that is also just like, oh, Nakash, please give me the strength to do whatever. It's like, oh, you know, it might invite the reader to think that this is kind of the same, which the authors definitely don't want.
Sure.
I guess we're just supposed to be so shocked by the idea that someone would pray to something that's not the creator
God.
that will be like, oh, my pearls, I must clutch them. Oh. So whatever. But it's cool that they have like a blood venom psychedelic ritual. I like that. Because it's one of the few times that we actually get to see what this religion looks like.
Right.
Aside from bowing down to like a big snake. Statue
right.
of a snake.
Yeah, if they didn't like do the child sacrifice thing, I think it would be kind of cool to do one of those rituals with the snake venom.
Yeah.
Like they did in The Secret History, you know, take poison to see Dionysus.
Oh, is that what they do?
They that was one of their attempts.
Okay. Did it work?
No.
Oh. Bummer.
One of them did. Anyways.
Oh yeah, there's some insane backstory that we just kind of get fed in this scene. So everyone in Havil is required to serve as a temple prostitute for at least 1 year. Like everybody in the whole society. Oh, and any children that are conceived during that time are sacrificed to Nakash.
Which is the kind of crazy evil that I wanted to justify the world.
I guess so.
You know,
if that was really happening, I don't know why an all-powerful entity couldn't intervene to stop that in a way that doesn't involve just like killing everybody. It seems like, you know, an all-powerful god could find a way to save the innocent and kill only the guilty.
No one's innocent.
But no one's innocent.
Right, because of great father and great mother.
Sure, whatever. It's just crazy that we just drop that and then we move on. Like, oh, you're conscripted to be a prostitute. Okay.
It's terrible.
Fine. So the Nodites arrive at the city, and their commander, Iridel, reveals that, and this is also bizarre, like this we just get this info dump. King Lamech is the illegitimate son of a failed usurper of Nod way back in the day.
Right.
And Iridel and Tesek, who is a general who is loyal to Nama but is more loyal to Lamech, they like mock each other for a bit. Like they just shout, like Tesek is up on the wall of Irigashem and Iridel's like up on a hill. And
the Monty Python thing.
Literally the Monty Python thing. They just kind of neg each other. And then Iridel's like, I'm gonna come back in 1 day and invade. You have 1 day to decide to surrender or prepare to fight, basically.
And fight they do.
In a bit. So the next day, Iridel asks for Nama's decision, her being the de facto leader of Irigashem. But just then, the secret Havilite forces that we've been waiting for, to be fair, they did talk about this a little bit. They arrive by river, so they kind of like come in through the back of Irigashem because there's a river that runs through it. Like we know there's a port there from the previous books. So Havilite enforcements arrive, and Nama sends Asher, the aforementioned evil innkeeper, out to negotiate for their terms of quote-unquote surrender. So the ploy at this point is to send Asher out, have him talk to Iridel about how Havil is going to surrender Irigashem to Nod, and then in the meantime prepare the Havilites to ambush the Nodites as soon as they actually enter during the city. This kind of breaks down though, and it leads to like a big pitched battle.
Big dinosaur fight, let's go. So it's so crazy. I think some spies get hanged from the walls that Nama just found, and a bunch of dinosaurs get released to just go crazy. And then they have like the giants, whatever the giants
They're
are
like
called. Nephilim. They have Nephilim go out there and like attack a bunch of people. And I think the evil innkeeper gets stomped by a T-Rex.
And his wife, they both get trampled by T-Rexes for betraying Yuri Geshem.
So that's really fun. And then, like, all of this chaos is happening, and then people come out of the secret tunnel kind of with no fanfare, right?
Yeah, the Nodites, like, then invade the city from the inside, but, like, it's already too
There's
late.
so much going on that it doesn't really fucking matter.
It doesn't matter at all. In the end, Iridel is captured, and the Nodites are routed.
Right.
So, Yuri Geshem is, quote-unquote, defended, I guess, if you can call it that. It's right about this time that King Lamech recovers, so he misses the end of the battle. Nama tries to pin the assassination attempt on Asher and his wife.
Yeah.
Now being dead, they can't defend themselves. And on top of that, Nama plants the vial of poison in Asher's wife's robes.
Yeah.
So people find it, and they're like, oh, well, maybe it really is true. And Lamech himself seems to be convinced, but then he, like, creepily bends down when no one's looking and whispers into Nama's ear, and he's like, I know it was you.
You're going back home.
Right, and he sends her back home to Havil, which is across the ocean or the sea.
Whatever ocean.
I thought this was an ocean, but I looked at the map in the front of the book, and it's actually like more of like a really big gulf.
Yeah, like
between
a lake.
Havil and Yuri Geshem. Like they're on one contiguous landmass that kind of bends in like a C shape around this body of water. We flip back over to Noah's point of view, where he and his little party of side characters locate Emzara. They find her
on the other side of a river, and there's like this tearful reunion scene with some boats or something.
Noah and some side characters have like a little conversation about whether or not telling the Nodites the way into the city was the right thing to do. And this is where, in response, Noah just kind of like shrugs. Like after all of his angst, he's like, oh no. Which is not compelling as protagonists go. Not at all.
I'm trying so hard not to Skylar White Imzara, but it's just like Noah gets so much boringer whenever she's around.
You think that's what it is?
I don't know. But like, why was the only chapter where he was alone so much? Well, no, never mind. He's away from Imzara later, and it's not interesting. So it's not her.
It's not her.
I guess it's just marital feelings, or whenever the idea of marriage and romance come up.
I think the authors are afraid of making Noah, one chosen by God to have this special information and insight. Like they don't want to make him look
interesting,
bad,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, to be cool, you have to be a little bad. To be interesting, you have to be a little bad. I don't know. That's why everybody likes Shadow and nobody fucks with Sonic.
No one fucks with Sonic.
Sorry if that's like controversial or problematic or something. So the group, which now includes, and I don't know why, in whatever state I was in, I felt compelled to index the characters that are here. I guess I just thought it would help, but it isn't gonna matter. Okay, so the group now includes Noah and Zara, the two kids, Perlek and Reyna, who are both injured, and various other people sail for weeks in like a little rowboat that they have down the river away from Yuri Geshem. They arrive at Noah's childhood home, which is called
Irisana?
Irisana, thank you. And are greeted by his father and grandfather. His mother, in the interim, it's been years and years and years since he's been home at this point, has died.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah reveals that he, at some point during all this, spoke directly to the creator who forewarned him about the flood. And basically, he sits down with all these characters and he asks the group to go north with him through Eden, where he will build the ark far beyond the reaches of the Havilites.
Right.
During the conversation, Perlek, who has recovered somewhat, is the one to ask if everyone is going to die in the flood. He uses the word everyone. And Noah just evades the question at this point, which is very conspicuous, but no one presses him on the issue.
No one's worried about this.
No one's too worried about that.
I'm sure something will get worked out.
It'll be fine, right? Like,
yes.
It would be crazy if the only people to be saved were Noah, Noah wife, Noah sons 1 through 3, and Noah wife sons 1 through 3. That would just be really bizarre.
It'd be crazy.
How are they going to repopulate the earth?
One step at a time.
That's modest. I like that.
So now it's just a travelogue, right?
Pretty
to
much.
Eden?
Yeah.
The boringest chapters ever?
Yeah, basically. It's conceptually really cool that they're like, oh, we're going to go through Eden because Eden is known as like this mysterious and maybe even cursed land that people are not allowed to enter ever since great father and great mother Adam and Eve fell. Like there's rumors of dark creatures patrolling the edges and the interior. So they want to use it as kind of like a natural barrier in case the heavy lights follow them, which of course they're going to, right? Because like it would be crazy if they didn't. So I don't know. This is cool conceptually. Unfortunately, like Andrew said, it is just kind of like what should have been a montage, basically.
Yes.
We should have just had like an Ice Age, like a on my way, like kind of moment. But instead we have to have like all these chapters where like they're wandering and nothing is really happening.
Walking through going on the boat, walking through the forest, running through some trees.
It's worth mentioning that not everyone goes with them.
Oh, yeah.
Noah's dad and most of his family, like his immediate family, stay home. Perlek goes with.
Yes.
Reyna goes with. Methuselah, the granddad, goes with.
His grandfather.
And of course Emzara.
Right.
And some others.
Some other people. It doesn't matter.
If you're
we'll tell you them if they matter.
Yeah. If you're wondering about Noah's brother, who was like a major character in the first book, if he goes, no. And more on that later.
Yes.
Some various events occur. They encounter a nomadic group, and inexplicably it's led by some side characters from the earlier novels.
Right. There's just some more Keebler elves, but these ones are nomadic.
And there is so much like small town Midwestern dialogue in this moment. It's like anthropologically very interesting that the authors of this projected like their cultural milieu back onto these prehistoric times.
Right.
Because they're literally like, oh, I know you from so-and-so's family, and oh, you're my great uncle thrice removed.
You look just like your mama or stuff like that. Yeah.
All these little things that are charming in real life, if I'm feeling generous, but in a book where most of these characters have had very little page time, they're deeply tedious.
Yes.
The main thing that matters is there's this girl there, or woman, I guess, named Yvette, and Perlek falls in love with her during the time that they're kind of hanging out with the nomads. And so they get married, and this is ultimately going to be both of their downfalls later on. They do carry on with Noah and the group for now, but this whole episode ends when they're like, okay, we're going to prepare for the wedding. And then we just skip over the wedding, which is such a bummer.
Do you want another wedding? Why?
Because I want to know what the cultures are actually like. If we're going to spend so much time with this weird little culture, like I at least want to know, like, what are their wedding practices? Like, what happens? It is rife with opportunities for things like, characters being tempted to do illicit acts, drunken, late at night. There's so much that could occur here.
They're going to die anyway, Jay. Why do you care?
We're all going to die, Andrew. Why do I care about you?
Maybe you will.
Sinner. Yeah, I will. Yeah, well, there you go. They travel on. They end up in some deep woods where they very improbably, I must editorialize, find a house that Adam and Eve, like those Adam and Eve, used to live in.
I want you to hear that they found Adam and Eve's house.
Yeah.
Like, does that sound as stupid to you guys as it does to me? Like, they had a house? Like, was it made out of timber? They had paintings on the wall?
Yeah.
Did they have little portraits of Cain and Abel?
Yes, they did, literally.
Okay. Yeah, never mind. I don't know. Maybe this is unfair. This is dumb, but like, it's dumb to me that Adam and Eve have a house.
It's really a dull house. Like, it has the vibe of stumbling across like your 37th ruins in Breath of the Wild, like one of those ruins that's like, like all the others, it's like lush and green and the stone is crumbling in like a very aesthetically satisfying way, and you can use the magnet power to pull a treasure chest out of the ground. It's got a couple rupees in it,
sure,
but like,
not here.
It adds to your cumulative experience, especially if it's your first time playing the game, but like you won't remember it specifically.
Right.
And that is a bizarre energy to bring to Adam and Eve's house. It's Adam and Eve's house.
Well, they gotta live somewhere, Jay.
I know, but like Methuselah like interprets some paintings.
Oh yeah,
and he's
this
like,
tells the story of the 7 days, and then they go through the creation myth, and then they go through Cain and Abel. They go through like all of Genesis hitherto, basically.
Right, and this is here so that Kay Marie and Tim Chafee have a way to say, look, it makes historical sense that the Genesis narrative was preserved. It was preserved by Adam and Eve, and it was told to Methuselah, and he vaguely remembered it, but seeing these paintings jogged his memory, and now he's told Noah, and Noah's going to survive, along with Noah wife, Noah sons 1 through 3, and Noah wife sons 1 through 3.
Lest we forget.
And so they're going to carry it forward, like, but it's like so transparently them trying to make their worldview make sense,
right,
that it sucks any like actual fascination out of the scene. But if you thought that was weird and lame, they then find the graves of Adam and Eve, which get like less fanfare.
They have gravestones.
They have
like,
just headstones,
right?
Like American style, sort of curved gray headstones.
Assumably, I think they're just called grave markers or something. But like, I don't know the history of a gravestone, but certainly it's relatively modern.
Yeah.
You know, like, didn't they have cairns or
right?
You know,
yeah. Like
sepulchres?
Something to mark the site makes sense, but like a headstone.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just
okay.
They're just like, oh, there they are.
We have more lore to just sort of uninterestingly get out of the way because Noah and Imzara's first child is born. We actually skip over the birth, which again is like, that's a moment where there could be interesting tension or conflict, but no. This is Japheth, in case anybody cares.
I care.
They do an animal sacrifice over the graves to celebrate Japheth's birth. Methuselah then tells them the Cain and Abel story. And they explicitly confirm in text that Cain and Abel did marry and procreate with their own sisters, and everybody came from that. So that's good.
Yep. Well, you know, we have to mentally prepare ourselves for what's going to happen after this book ends. It's foreshadowing.
I was gonna say I appreciate the gall of just saying it out loud. That's not really true. I'm a bit impressed. I'm impressed. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Back on Nama's perspective, but 30 years later, we just have a crazy random time skip. We're back in Havil, where she was sent by her father, last we knew. And she does some like healing blood magic to save the life of her dying mentor. He's the Nakash sage that Andrew mentioned earlier in the summary. He's called the Seer. You could call him an augur if you wanted. Might not be strictly accurate, but it would be a funny callback. But even after Nama saves him using this like Nakashian blood magic, he dies brutally in the night. Like he initially seems to recover, and then he has this moment where they hear him screaming in the adjacent room.
What
and
is
I know
he
you want to talk about this, so you
what is he screaming?
He's like, the flames, they burn. I'm going to hell. I'm going to Bible hell.
Oof, ouch, owie, the little actual devil is torturing me.
Oh no,
in
he's
hell.
poking me with a pitchfork. Oh.
John Milton was right about everything.
Oh my god. John Milton.
Yeah, you know, most of like the Christian conception of like what heaven and hell is come from Milton rather than scripture.
Right. But
like,
there's flames in the Bible.
Okay, yes, there's a lake of fire. Yeah, sure, but
like from Dark Souls 3.
And a lot of like, you know, it could be argued that a lot of what we think of the devil in certain stories is not the devil or Satan itself.
Certainly not. I mean, it's pretty unambiguous that like the devil in the New Testament and the serpent are like separate characters,
right?
Like anthropologically speaking,
right?
They're not the same,
but not here.
Not here.
So just found Joey the flames.
But interestingly, it seems like it's Nakash like torturing and killing him even after Nakash's own blood magic saved him. So it's like kind of confusing. Like you could sort of make it work. I think it's sort of trying to imply that like, you know, you make a deal with the devil and like he might give you what you want in the short term, but he's gonna get you, unlike God who's like faithful to you if you're faithful to him or whatever. But it does just sort of raise additional questions about Nakash's nature that are never going to be answered, which the problem there is not that it's inconsistent, and that it's a missed opportunity to make it consistent and interesting. But we can't look too close at the devil in our Christian book because I don't know, that would be like
be too interesting.
It would piss off the target audience, I guess.
Right.
So later in the day, week, month, year, decade, century, there is a festival to celebrate Nakash. And at this festival, which King Lamech is leading as the ruler of Havil, he does the unthinkable to Nama, anyways, by declaring that the Havilites have outgrown their old god. And he says that, you know, he's going to be basically the new god. Like, we don't need this Nakash anymore. It's King Lamech, number one, who's done all these great things.
He proposes a lateral daddy move.
He does propose a lateral
daddy
move.
Him is the daddy.
But he's the daddy, and that breaks the number one rule of daddy ascension, which is you can't nominate yourself to top daddyism, I guess.
Not top daddy. No, but this is cool, right?
Yeah, no, this is cool. This is
one
cool.
of the, I'm gonna say pathetic again. One of the most pathos-esque things about Nama is her almost childish, I want to say, devotion to Nakash.
If her devotion to Nakash is childish, then so are all of the creator rights attachments to the creator, because they are 1-to-1.
You'll never guess what my opinion on the creator rights is. No, but she's like she's very devoted to Nakash.
She's a true believer, like
right,
genuinely.
Right, so it's like, it's good to be faithful abstractly, but she's worshiping the devil, so she's against this evil guy, but she's also evil. Do you see how it's interesting when bad things of a different variety come into contact with each other?
Because it makes you as a reader wonder, like, which of these is worse?
Right.
At a minimum. Right. Which of these is worse for the world? Which of these is worse for the people involved? And it's revealing about the author's sort of worldviews, in that the only thing worse than worshiping the devil is being an atheist. Which, I don't know, facts, I guess, or something, whatever sure. Would be funny to say there. As he prepares to sacrifice Nama, because she stands up and is like, no, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, and he's like, we're going to cap this off. We're saying goodbye to our old daddy with the biggest sacrifice you've ever seen.
Right. We're going to kill my daughter who tried to kill me and who is the lead priestess of Nakashism or whatever.
Right.
She basically like begs for Nakash's intercession, and it seems like it's not going to happen until it does.
This was so crazy to me.
Was really surprising.
So his crown's got a snake on it, and it comes to life like the thing that
like
Moses did, and attacks King Daddy a bunch and eventually kills him, like mortally wounds him.
It bites him in the face. He gets envenomed.
So it proves that, like, if you invoke the devil, you could do really cool snake shit.
Right. Right. I mean, the magic thing that we saw previously could have been a one-off, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like, you know, sometimes people are sick and then you watch them and they recover spontaneously, right?
There are a lot of diseases that'll do that, like dementia.
Yeah. Or they'll just appear to be recovering, as in this case. But this is unambiguous. Like, magically, the crown turns into a snake, kills King Daddy, and then turns back into a crown.
Just like that. Thank you, Satan.
So yes, like, the implications of this, because remember, like, the authors are billing this as speculative history. Like, they're not saying this did happen, but they're saying that all of this is plausible. They are literally saying that in 2026, or 2020, whatever, whenever this is written, you can pray to the devil, and he will turn shit into snakes for you. And they'll kill your enemies. And you'll go to hell or whatever, I guess.
Yeah,
but in the meantime,
you'll have cool snakes. Well, there was a thing in the appendix about how, like, again, they drew from the Moses thing, and apparently there's some, like, reference in the Bible to the fact that Egyptian court magicians would also do the same snake trick. So they just assumed and extrapolated that this was just a thing.
Okay.
If I really concentrate, do I need blood? How do I generate blood? I want to turn my beer can into a giant PBR snake.
What if you turn this into a real dinosaur?
I was going to say those didn't exist, but we have them in this book.
Oh, man. With that, and this is happening before a public audience.
Right.
I should like remind.
All the Havilites are out there watching.
Yeah. This may or may not be the same ceremonial location where in book 1 a volcano erupted.
They cleaned that up.
They cleaned that up?
Okay,
this is like in the throne room or it's in the same location. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. But a lot of people saw it happen. So Nama is like, I'm the queen now. And everyone's like, hell yeah.
Whatever you say, lady.
Please don't kill me with snakes.
Right.
So, back on Noah, which is exactly where we want to go after that high note.
Right, yeah. Time to build a boat and get a commercial for the Ark encounter.
We're kind of like outside Eden. We've made it.
We've made it.
Noah, in this, post time skip, has started to build what I'm really tempted to call like a high control group cult type of deal, where he is not self-appointed as top daddy, but he's de facto daddy.
Right. Which is the more dangerous kind.
Which is the more dangerous kind. And he has 3 sons now. They have everything they need to build the Ark, this little community, except for clear instructions from God.
Is this the part where God says, "Here, I'll mark it on your mini map and flag it in your inventory"?
Not quite. Not quite. First, Noah is he's got like a family now. Perlek and Evet, or whatever the fuck her name is, they have a family. There's various other side characters that have families. Noah's like, well, we're in this high control group that I command, and I don't have clear instructions on what to do. Everyone's getting a bit antsy. It's been 30 years. I mean, we live hundreds of years, but still, like, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
So he's wandering around the perimeter of the Garden of Eden, and what does he happen across but the tree of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil?
Amen.
But is driven back by but is driven back by cherubim.
Yes.
Correct?
Those were cherubim.
They're cherubim.
Very interesting thing to point out there, because here they are just people, or not, like large stone critters, I guess.
Yeah, they're like tall elfin individuals
that always stare straight at him.
Yeah.
And greet him as a beloved of God.
And they have multiple pairs of wings.
Yes.
And they have flaming swords that they control. I was kind of imagining it as like psychically controlled, because I think at one point, like the swords act like they fly around, and I think
they have swords, and then there's
down.
Also the flaming sword that like levitates or whatever.
I'm imagining the bell-bearing hunter. If you're familiar, we have to get our Elden Ring reference.
We have to get that one. It does kind of feel like an Elden Ring boss.
A little bit.
Sorry.
So they got multiple wings. Like some of them are spread out. Some of them are like covering their feet or whatever. And they tell Noah to like chin up, sport.
Yeah.
Keep at it, buddy, slugger. You'll get there. God'll tell you what to do when the time is right. And he's like, you can't give me anything specific. And they're like, we don't know shit, dog. God doesn't tell us anything.
Right. They are also saying that. It's so interesting. It's just worked out for us, bro. So just trust us.
It's gonna be fine, or
whatever you do not eat the fruit.
Don't eat the fruit. It's really stinky. So you might be wondering, like, Noah's wandering around. The main tension right now is like he wants to build the ark, but he doesn't know how to do it. He's just been told to wait. What is the least likely thing to happen, narratively speaking, in terms of pacing at this exact moment?
He actually waits?
Yeah. No, that's what you would think would happen, right? Like he would go do something else. Some interstitial conflict would arise.
It would be the least likely thing to happen because it was Anyway. So it could be worse.
You're thinking too in terms of the book, because it literally at this moment, he's like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I'll content myself to wait. God shows up and is like, you don't have to wait anymore, sonny boy. Like, here's the answer. So God gives him the instructions to build the ark. It's, whatever cubits by whatever
it in his
cubits.
mind's eyes.
He rotates it like an apple in his brain or whatever, so he doesn't have aphantasia, in case we were wondering about that. And Noah seems like unfazed by the confirmation that it really is going to be everybody but the people that we've named already that are going to die. Like, he doesn't seem troubled, like, at all.
No. This is so fucking egregious to me. It's like, I don't want to get too far into it because we're still just trying to get through the summary, but like, Noah is supposed to be righteous in this book because the Bible said he is righteous, but our apologist authors cannot commit to him being anything but righteous. And righteous in this case means being on board for some things that just don't sit well.
Right.
At least to me,
no,
personally.
And it feels like it goes directly against what little characterization Noah has, because if there's one thing that defines him, it's that he is a small town Midwestern family man. He cares about who's related to who. He cares about who worked with whose dad at the shipyard back in the day. Right. And when he hears that all of those people, many of whom are still good people,
yes,
are going to be wiped from this earth, he's like, all right.
Yeah. If God says it's okay.
So he goes back to his little group and he's like, hey, everybody, I've got a big announcement to make. Let's have a party. And then we skip forward 60 years.
Wait, is this the part where they're like, we're probably going to die anyways? When he announces that, hey,
oh, that's coming. That's
okay,
coming.
Never mind.
So we skip forward 60 years. Okay.
When is he going to go on the Coos cruise?
Now.
Okay.
So we skip forward 60 years so that the arc can be well underway.
Yes.
There's a foreshadowing earthquake. something is happening. Perhaps the
afoot.
fountains of the deep are preparing to spew forth their dark effusence or something like that.
Okay.
That's not a word.
It sounded like it could have been one.
This is when Perlek and his wife are fed up. So Perlek and Evet are like, you know what? We kind of don't feel like being like sedentary anymore. Like Perlek was helping build the Ark. He was a blacksmith. He took after his father, Tubal-Cain, who was a blacksmith.
From a young age.
But now all of the metal that's needed to be wrought has been wrought.
Somehow.
So there's nothing for him to do, I guess. So he's bored, and Evet is bored, and they're like, we would prefer to go live with the nomads, who, for what it's worth, are creator following, more or less. Like, sort of, they're like culturally Christian, basically.
Culturally Christian, right.
Like, they don't have any strict, regular worship practices that we know of, but, like, they're chill with the creator. They kind of have, like, vestigial remnants of that belief system, it seems. And Perlek and Evet are just like, we just, like, fuck with that lifestyle more. And it's explicitly clear in this scene where they're talking to Noah about their reasons for leaving that they still believe in God, but they just have kind of a hard time believing that God is really going to flood the world and kill everyone, including the good people who are still actively worshiping him, including themselves.
Right. That's the operative point, right?
Yeah.
They're included in this as well. And they've been, like, happily participating in the building of this Ark for so long.
Right. Like, this Ark would not exist if not for them.
Right.
Literally. And the implications of this are just really nasty, because they do leave, and Noah gives them his blessing. He's like, I'm not going to, like, keep you here. Yeah. So I guess it's not a high control group. It's like a moderate control group.
Yeah, emotional control.
There's some pressure.
Yeah.
But he's like, look, at the end of the day, like, it's up to you.
Right.
Plus, actually, you know what? Maybe this is the worst possible thing he could do, because he knows that in letting them go, they're going to die. He's been told it at this point.
They're going to die either way. I see what you're saying, but, like, they're going to die either way. It doesn't really, they could do whatever they want.
Yeah, so they leave. And there's more Ark building, and randomly, is it Lamech or Methuselah? Methuselah decides that he wants to check in on the outside world. Okay, so there's been an earthquake, the flood is coming, but it's not that close. Right. Stuff is happening in Havil. You can kind of see, like, the pieces, like, there's echoes of tension. It's not very felt, but conceptually it exists, right? So them deciding to go and see what's happening in the outside world at this moment, like, I kind of understand the narrative logic of it. It's like, oh, they're leaving the Ark in this vulnerable position. But in effect, it's like, why are they doing this?
Right. Yeah, that reading is very abstract, because I really was like, no, because it's like, Methuselah's like, I want to go see the world, or whatever crazy old man voice. And Noah's like, well, I don't know, this is a great idea, but one of my sons doesn't have a wife because there's this other girl here, and she's going to marry one or the other. I don't know which one yet, but it's going to be one of them. Right. So we might as well go and pick up a new woman.
Basically.
So it's literally a cruise, but for his son. Like, he just like, here, son, let's find you a wife.
So Noah, Lamech, his dad, who has the same name as King Lamech. If that's confusing, go watch our previous episodes. Methuselah, and like,
that'll help.
So if that'll help, right? And some other people, they decide they're gonna go sail back up to like Irisana, hit, I don't know, Key West or something on the way back.
Key West, not Key West. Anything but Key West. Don't take me back there.
And they take a little ancillary boat that they have up the river. To go check things out. On the way, they're ambushed by river pirates. There's river pirates now, which is an indication of the state that the world is in, I guess. During this fight, Lamech is hit by like a poison dart or something, and so he falls horribly ill. They make it back to Irisana before he dies, but with his final breaths, he entreats his extended family, who, are gathered around him, to listen to Noah about all that Ark stuff.
Right. But it's okay, because he would have gotten the entire inheritance, but Noah was just such a good boy that he bestowed it upon all the other children because he doesn't need it anyways.
Right. So Noah gets the inheritance, but then Noah passes it immediately along to his brother and other siblings and, like, their relatives.
Right.
We skip past the funeral, and kind of into like Noah explaining all this arc stuff to his brother, who's acting as like a synecdoche for the whole family, basically.
Yeah.
His brother, who was a major character in the first book, who he had this sort of like competitive, like friendly competitive relationship with.
Yeah.
Like they liked to wrestle, they liked to race, they liked to swim, or whatever.
Boys will be boys in a good way.
Yeah, it was like boy stuff.
Yeah,
it
boy
was
stuff.
very didactic,
Yes.
in its presentation of gender norms.
Sure.
His name's like Jera or whatever. And Jera is also sort of a mouthpiece for any concerns that readers might have about the ethics or morals of the creator's decision to kill everybody ever.
Yeah.
And Noah explains to Jera that God would only use a flood if it was necessary.
Yeah.
Now, if I may be pedantic for a moment, I need to drill in on the meaning of this word necessary, because it implies that God isn't all-powerful. If it's necessary that God achieve his aims by one particular means and those means alone, it means that there aren't other means available to him, which would indicate that his power is limited in some capacity. So either he could have done it a different way and chose not to, which then opens a different conversation about like subjective morality, or we just admit that God's like not all powerful, in which case we need to cede some of what Tim Chafee and Kay Marie believe. I just want to point out that conflict is there.
Yeah, it's one of the three greatest, I don't know, like paradoxes or things that the human mind can't wrap its head around. You know, you have your omnipotence, your omnibenevolence, which certainly is a factor here, and omnipresence. So, you know, anything with omni, you know, it can be a big barrier for believers. But rather than, you know, hash this out, break open the Summa Theologica and talk about, you know, some possible points and counterpoints, Noah's just like, well, I think the flood was chosen specifically because it would give people time to get right with God.
They'll see it coming over the horizon.
So they have enough time to say, I accept Jesus Christ into my heart as my personal savior. Just before they die in agony.
But there's a second reason too, Andrew.
Oh, what's the second reason?
The second reason is that it will leave geological markers that will confirm to future people that this global flood, worldwide flood, was historically attested.
Right? You have to attest in history for it to be historically attested.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I've heard that there were fossils of ichthyosaurs in like the desert or, you know, in the middle of the mountains
There's
somewhere.
those trees they love to talk about that like span various geologic strata.
Right, and the only explanation for that is a worldwide flood. There's no other way.
Nothing else could possibly. And Jera's like, well, you know, that's very reasonable. I don't personally like buy it. Like, I'm not mad at you. Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
But like, you're welcome to worship the creator in whatever way you choose. I'm not going to follow you onto the ark, which I don't know why Noah thought he would, because he already knows who he's going to be on, who's not going to be on. And they part amicably in civil disagreements.
Yeah, civil disagreements is about the best way to put it, because like Noah just leaves them with the warning, like, whatever you do, keep following the creator no matter what, which is gestures towards his redeemability and then could possibly nullify the point of the flood. Yeah, you've heard it a million times before.
Right.
There are some characters with him. It's mostly just his sons.
They are traveling back home. I think they decide to take a land route because they're afraid of more pirate encounters or something like that. Also, interestingly, like a Fire Emblem game, we've had our one obligatory pirate encounter, so now we can't go back on the water.
Right.
Because we've set a precedent that there's pirates there, and we can't have another pirate encounter, so we have to go overland. So they decide to take this overland route back home. But on the way, they're driven off course by the presence of a Grendek. Which, that's the T-Rex one, right?
It could, I think it's a T-Rex.
Okay.
Grendek just means theropod.
Okay.
Or Tyrannosaurus kind.
So it's a kind.
Yeah, Grendek is a kind. I think it's a T-Rex. I'm going to say it's a T-Rex. If it's a Ceratosaurus, I don't give a fuck. I don't know any other theropods. Allosaurus? If it's an Allosaurus, I don't care. It's a T-Rex in my heart.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's big.
It's so big.
They end up in a forest. Some forest somewhere.
A forest.
A forest.
Near Eden, but not that near Eden.
Right. I tried to follow it on the provided map, and it was less useful than an Alex Astor map, which is a shame.
Such a shame.
Because why is it there?
They're in a forest.
They're in a forest. And they are outrunning this Grendek, and they happen upon this group of, like, people who dwell in structures that are, like, strung between trees. Like, oh, what's that town in Hoenn?
Oh, Four Tree City.
They're like in Four Tree City.
I was going to say they're like Ewoks, but
Yeah.
whatever stupid nerd culture thing that you want to talk about.
Whatever Matt Dinniman-ass reference floats your boat.
Hold on, I thought you would be more fixated on the Triceratops poaching.
Oh, yeah, well, tell me about that.
They come across this giant, like, open field of dead Triceratops, and they're like, oh my god, did the Grindek kill all of these? And they're like, no, the Grindeks would have eaten the bodies. These have their horns cut off.
Right.
And apparently this is, like, depicted in the Ark Encounter somewhere as, like, an example of mankind's folly. And I just thought that, you know, given your proclivities,
my veganity,
your special traits,
my relationship to soy,
yeah, you might think it's really interesting that something that our authors conceived of to be worthy of being flooded to death was the mistreatment of animals.
Well, no, I mean, I feel like I kind of already like book one when like they criticize meat eating, and it comes up, you know, incidentally throughout this book and in book two, where it's something that the authors, like, really want you, like, they can't decide how they feel about it, right? Like, they want you to know that Noah doesn't eat a lot of meat because eating meat involves killing creatures,
right?
And killing creatures is akin to sin, right? Because sin entering the world is synonymous with death entering the world.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, they know that their target audience is also on that, like, RFK eat your meat train. So they can't be too explicit about it. So it's, like, kind of an interesting tension, but I feel like I had everything I have to say about it, more or less. I guess it is interesting that, like, we get another depiction of, like, what these authors perceive of as, like, a sinful alternative religion to creatorianity. Which is, like, the folly. So there's the folly of worshiping the devil. There's the folly of worshiping oneself and being an atheist. They see those things as the same. And then there's the folly of worshiping the created as opposed to the creator. And that's what we have here, because the leader of this society has, like, a throne made of skulls and horns and shit, right? So, like, they sort of have this, like, pseudo spiritual relationship with these Triceratops that they kill.
Right. And I just thought Triceratops poachers was an interesting concept. I thought it was good that they didn't like poaching.
That's true. It is good that they don't like poaching.
They could have been one of those, like, all animals were put on the earth for the betterment.
Dominion.
Yeah. So whatever, writing point, moral point, whatever you want to call it. Someone write about dinosaur poachers. I think that's a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. So yeah, they roll up to Four Tree City, and everybody is, like, insanely threatening to them because they, at dinner, they being Noah et al., they don't want to, like, worship the Tyrannus, or they don't want to worship the Triceratops skull, basically. They don't want to give thanks to its spirit. And there's, like, a moment of tension where it seems like they're going to be, like, hanged for not doing it, but then the leader of the tribe is like, no, it's okay. Like, we're like, liberal here. Like, it's fine. But what we learn late at night is that actually the room is trapped.
Right.
And because they didn't bow before the chocolate bunny or whatever, the floor is gonna fall out. Like, all the furniture's nailed down, I guess.
I guess. I have no idea how that's supposed to work.
But they're saved by this sexy lady who I can only assume is wearing, like, a leopard skin bikini and has, like, a bone woven into her hair or something. I was picturing,
like, the female Forsworn armor. Yeah. Have you seen that in Skyrim?
It feels like, I don't know, a tasteless depiction of a woman.
Yes.
Like, from a 60s, like, pulpy short story about, like, a macho man being sent back in time.
R-E-L, A-R apostrophe yell.
Yeah. And so she like seduces the guy that's keeping watch outside their room, but who's really there to keep them inside in case they try to escape. And she incapacitates him, and then she's like, the floor is gonna drop, we gotta get out of here. And they have, like, a chase scene where, like, they flee in the night and are pursued, but get away.
And they do. And boy, does Ariel really want to learn more about the creator.
Right. She's so stunned by their bravery of politely refusing the tribal leader's polite invitation to partake in their sort of mundane ritual.
To be fair, I found her logic cogent, or at least cogent enough for this kind of story.
It makes sense.
Where she's like, I live in a death cult, everything is about killing and murder, and then I see you guys come along and you guys aren't into the whole death thing, and that's very refreshing to me. And I can understand that perspective. She does a lot of cool action stuff. She seems curious about the world, and like she has a good head on her shoulders. And lo and behold,
wow, I can't wait to see that characterization continue throughout the rest of the novel.
Well, too bad, Jay, because Noah kind of scratches his chin at her and is like, my son Shim has been really into teaching people about the creator. I wonder if I could make something happen here.
Yeah, right.
So, wife secured.
I wonder if I can self-fulfill this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, and one of the mooks that has been following Noah along dies. Elam dies.
Oh, right, yeah. Elam, like, dies heroically, fending off the bad guys as
hordes.
They, I don't know, climb down a ladder or something
like that.
And they skirt around the invisible Kekleon or whatever.
Right. So we've lost 2 people and we've gained 1 wife. So you can measure that in
sounds like a win to me.
Right.
Back on Nama, fucking finally.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, Noah and all them make it home.
Oh yeah, they go home.
There's like more peril where like there's like a
lion?
waterfall they have to climb.
Oh, there's
like a
waterfall
lion.
And then the lion.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
It's fine. Like one of the kids is like injured, but it doesn't matter. So they make it home. Back on Nama, she is aging.
Yes.
She looks in a mirror.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm getting old. And it's kind of sad.
It's so sad and it's so human and it's so interesting. I love this character.
Right.
It drives me nuts how much I love this character.
It feels tropey that like they have the woman character be like, I'm so vainly obsessed with my wrinkles. But charitably, I like that we see this fear depicted. Like she's afraid of dying, especially in the wake of having seen what might happen to her as a Nakash worshiper at the end of her life. Right? Like it makes sense. She regrets that she was never able to like make it work with Noah because she still kind of has feelings for him. She's like, you know, I've lived a good span of my life and like I don't have like a intimate partner.
Right.
Like you're saying, it is very human.
Right. It could be read very patriarchally, but she's also still the victim of the patriarchy in this situation.
Yeah.
And it's tied up with her fear of death, which is just so palpable and it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's great to see a character like struggle with something, like really struggle with it and not have the thought-terminating cliche of like, God will make it better, like as an option to her.
Right, because she's like, Nakash, please make it better, and it's not working. It's not working psychologically or magically or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's so much more desperate from her perspective.
And that is very felt. So she knows or has heard that there's this tree of life out there somewhere in the Eden area.
Right.
And she's like, well, I'm going to go get that thing.
So it's really cool, though, because her general comes up and he's like, we got some prisoners from the nomads. We burned all their tents and listened to them sizzle. I'm evil.
Yeah.
But we got 2 prisoners and you might want to meet one of them. And Perlek is again her nephew.
Yeah, because, Tubal Cain's son.
So she's like, tell me where to find the fountain of youth, the apple of youth or whatever the fuck.
Right.
So some interrogation happens and she does some evil shit. She like threatens to make his wife a temple prostitute and cut off her fingers or something like that. Literally cut off her finger. So she gets the information that she needs and she's like, why didn't I think that this forbidden fruit would have been in the forbidden land Eden this whole time? It was right under my nose.
And to sweeten the deal, Perlek reveals that Noah is nearby.
Right. So they gotta go.
Right. So they gotta get out there.
So she gathers a giant fucking army, takes the 2 prisoners, and marches on.
Marches on Eden. Meanwhile, at the Ark, animals start showing up, and it really is given exactly that much fanfare. There are animals just kind of appearing in pairs now, and that makes Emzara happy. We remember who Emzara is, right? Like, it's been a long-ass time.
She's the one who likes to paint animals.
She loves to paint animals.
Remember when she had that emotional moment with the Pachycephalosaurus in book 2?
I really didn't think that was going to be her last character moment.
Well, You know, that's what narratives do, is they surprise us.
Oh, okay. Zara's like, wow, animals are showing up. I gotta paint them. And meanwhile, Noah gets to have something actually relevant happen, which is God is like, hey, BTW, that flood is like imminent. So like,
It's happening soon, bud.
so maybe start like, finishing up whatever the fuck you're still doing down there.
He's like lacquering the hull with sap, like burned sap or something.
Right, it's some kind of tar.
They
make some comment about gopher wood too, because like that's the type of wood that the ark is built out of.
Is that from the Bible?
Yeah,
do they say gopher wood in the Bible?
The significance of this phrase has something to do with like conflicts between various Bible translations.
Oh.
And so it's another circle they're trying to square.
Okay.
Where Noah's like, oh, I've never heard of gopher wood before.
Oh.
See, I haven't heard of it either.
But it's in Eden. Which is, hidden and forbidden. Okay.
And maybe not extant in 2026. Whatever, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Nama makes it to Eden very quickly. Would have thought that there might have been more to that.
There was like a sentence about how it was hard to get 75,000 people to.
Hey, I bet it was.
But they managed to do it nonetheless.
Logistical accomplishment. That. So they make it to Eden, but they immediately run into those aforementioned Aphim of whatever kind they are, cherubim or seraphim, and this goes about how you would expect. Like, they block the way. Nama and her army are like, you're gonna let us through. Like, you two entities are not gonna stop us.
Right.
And the cherubim are like, yes, we are. And Nama's like, get 'em, boys.
Well, she kills the prisoner. She's like, I got your beloveds right here. And then like kills them to like show that she's serious or whatever. And she notices that they look at peace and relieved to die.
Yeah, Perlike is happy to die in the presence of the angels.
Right. So it's
so
just a
you
contrast.
As a reader don't have to have any complicated feelings about these righteous characters dying.
Right, and you can think about that death versus the seer's death. And everything works out.
Everything works out unless you're one of the 75,000 people that was taken by Nama to fight the angels, because when that starts in just a second, it goes really bad for them.
They get bisected in just giant swaths.
Right, like the angels start like throwing their swords around like boomerangs. And a bunch of people get cut in half, and then they have to retreat.
And retreat they do, and then they come across the ark in this comedy of errors.
Right.
The ground is cracking apart.
Literally is.
Something dumb I lose track of what happened. Like,
the physicality gets very confusing here.
Nama starts telling the giants to throw other soldiers over this giant ravine.
Nama and the remainder of her army find the ark, which is in like a big clearing.
Right.
About the same time that they find it, the earth splits open as, the fountains of the deep start doing what they do. And Nama has some Nephilim with her. She's having them throw people across the crack so that they can maybe board or burn down the ark. I think some of them have torches or something.
Something like
that.
But
Noah and his family manage to board, and he rebukes Nama as she like falls to the ground on her knees like, no, I didn't get the apple, and I also didn't get Noah, and now I'm gonna drown to death.
Anything.
And the two animals that were steering her chariot like clear the gap somehow, and they board the ramp onto the ark as the literal hands of God lift it and close it. And so too does the book close.
Well, it closes on a very interesting this isn't a good dramatic reading, but I just kind of want to read the way that this book ends.
Yeah,
so
please.
After all of this happens, still hurting from the heightened awareness that everyone outside the ark would soon be gone, but thankful for God's mercy on him and his family, Noah nodded and pulled Zara close again. Another reason we should always trust the Creator.
Holy shit.
That's the end of the book.
Veggie Tales.
Well, this is the worst possible fucking paragraph to end a book. A series, not a book, a series.
Noah literally soy jacking at the drowning people behind him and being like, I'm glad that's not me.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Oh God.
Oh, creator.
Oh my creator. Oh my Nakash.
Yeah, this doesn't really make me want to follow the creator.
No!
Like, it makes me feel like I would only do so, like, self-interestedly and under duress.
Right. Right, so I don't say oof, ouch, owie when I die.
Oh, the fire!
The fire, it burns.
Oh. Wait, okay, so I was gonna read the part where Nama's looking in the mirror and she's like, oh, my wrinkles. But instead I want to read the part that's, like, clearly Noah and Emzara post-coital, but the book, like, doesn't want to acknowledge that's what just happened. Can you go to the start of chapter 23? This is how chapter 23 starts. Love you too. I'll see you at mid-meal. Noah pulled away from Emzara, and with a bounce in his step, he exited their tent. Scattered rays of sunlight filtered through the tall gopherwood trees surrounding the encampment. A hint of coolness filled the air, though it would likely dissipate soon.
Morning peace, Noah.
He's like the guy on the flying carpet from Link's Awakening, the CDI game.
Squadala.
Noah. Turning at the sound of the gravelly voice, Noah spotted Methuselah still sitting at the entrance of his tent. Morning peace, grandfather.
Still working on the lifts for the moving platforms.
Oh, great. Now he's like Grim Lightlark. That's worse. Yes, we're nearly finished with the second one. Methuselah held out a bag toward him.
Oh, hold on, I got this. I can find this voice.
Please go back to Squadala.
Would you take this to Shim? Oh, would you take this to Shim on your way?
Of course, Noah took the pouch. What's in it?
Some of his favorite dried fruit and a new scroll I've been working on.
Noah grinned. Well, the scroll will certainly be delivered, but I can't promise the fruit will make it.
They'd better.
I'll try to restrain myself.
It just kind of keeps going on from there.
Yeah, for like 100 pages. Okay, Andrew. I think charity is like one of those cardinal virtues. Oh, they're not Catholic. They don't care about that.
They don't care about cardinals.
Well, whatever. Tell me some good things.
Is there anything else we could say about Nama that wasn't gone over in the summary? It kind of goes without saying that she's the best part of this book and legitimately unobtrusively good.
I think we can say that Nama ironically redeems this book to the greatest degree to which it is possible to redeem it.
Right.
Like, try to imagine, seriously, in your mind's eye, what this book would be without her perspective.
I would never have read this book.
Yeah.
I literally don't think I could have gotten through this
really,
series
really tedious
without Nama. Because she's a character, because she has doubts and fears and desires, and these mesh in interesting ways, and she has enmity towards people and love towards others.
Mm-hmm.
She is a human, and it's so interesting to me. I've watched a couple of interviews with Tim and Marie. Yeah, K Marie. I was trying to think of like what K stands for, but I guess there's no telling. And they are both incredibly bad. And,
oh, wow, okay.
Well, like, there was one that was like an hour long, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to get some insight into the book. And it was like 5 minutes of talking about the book, and then they like do a little tour of the Ark encounter, and they point at Noah's animatronic, and he's like, the cameraman's like, so what would Noah's favorite football team be? Just completely
the Patriots.
Oh, that's a good one. They said the Ravens because there was a Raven animatronic.
Oh,
yeah, he's got a bird near him.
Did they have Raven kind?
Or is
Raven a descent? Okay,
they were flying for 40 days. Anyways, one of the only interesting things they said in either of these interviews is that they, again, were abiding by scripture. They wanted Noah to be accurate, and they kept saying, but Noah's still human, so he had his temptations and his flaws and his problems.
Not true. Simply not true.
Categorically untrue. And they said, we wanted him to be relatable to a kid in youth group.
Uh-huh.
And I want to take you back to the second book's discussion where I was talking about sitting in the corner of my youth group. I was on my iPod Touch writing terrible YA fantasy, and on my Safari tab, I had the works of Anton LaVey, founder of the atheistic Satanism, sitting here in old Suggestionville Presbyterian. And if I had read this book,
yeah,
Noah would not have been
No.
relatable to me in the slightest.
He's so alienating.
But you know who would be is Miss Edgy, I hate everything, but I'm really sad about it. That would have worked on me.
Yeah.
But I never would have gotten to Nama
Mhm.
because Noah sucks so bad.
Yeah.
The series, the book, him and the book that encompasses it sucks so terribly that this genuinely probably very effective piece of evil propaganda would have worked.
It's really, really sad because they do this lip service, particularly in book 2, about Noah being like prideful or whatever. And that was never actually true to begin with. But in book 3, he has just lost like all characterization, basically.
Right.
Like it's hard to even describe him anymore because he just does whatever God tells him to do. He's completely reactive. Unlike Nama, who has desire. She wants to do things. And a lot of them are bad.
Why do we need to say this to a published book? She wants to do things, and that's good.
That's good that she wants to do things of like her own accord. So Nama's good.
Nama's good.
When the characters are in Noah's childhood home, planning to flee through Eden to build the ark, there's like a glimmer of the novel coming alive. It's like, this is what it could have been. It could have been this like fun Bible-inspired fantasy adventure where like the characters are like name dropping all this random Bible bullshit, but it's been repurposed for like this story with real stakes where it's like, oh, there's urgency to build the ark. The Havilites are on our trail. We have to do it quick, and we're gonna use the nephew of the evil priestess to make all the metal for us. And like he only knows how to do that because his dad, who died tragically at the hands of his evil father, like, you know, like taught him how to do all this metalworking, and like now we gotta go. But like after that, we have like multiple decades long time skips. So it's like, okay, any urgency is completely dissipated. Oh, it's such a bummer.
Well, you know, we were shitting on Noah so much, but this book kind of proves that he could have been interesting. With the whole not betrayal thing, and you know, him being forced into this position where he is the betrayer of the city, I would have loved that sentiment stretched over him being the betrayer of the world. Yeah, he's kind of the betrayer of the world whole cloth, if you think about it.
A little bit.
I don't know why that sentiment is in the city and not in the world, but this little chapter in the beginning is a glimmer of hope.
It would have been really cool if we got some more reflection on Noah, some more reflection from Noah about how he would feel if he were not Noah. Like, how would he feel if someone was telling him that their family had been selected to survive this?
Right.
But
we will never know.
We'll never know.
Because he was the most righteous.
One thing that this book did for me rhetorically was help me understand the value of like, or not the value of, but why someone would care about, very deeply about passing on like family history and cultural lineage. Because that's a theme that kind of comes up fairly often. Like there's that scene where Methuselah is sort of sharing with them, you know, the history of the world, which is also more directly their own history because there are like so many fewer people.
Right.
And something in moments like that was really clicking for me, where I was like, okay, you know, like I can understand why somebody, if they really believed that they were descended from Adam and Eve, would care about this kind of thing. Because that's not something that I personally like really care about all that much. But I could understand how it would make someone feel like placed in the world. Like they were descended from people who were historically important, who were chosen by a divine figure, who have a purpose, who have a mission. And somehow the logic was like made accessible to me for like a very brief moment. Like I still don't really care about all that stuff in the existential way that I think the authors of this book must. But like I can get how in concept that would foster like an interconnectedness between me and my community. You know, if I was a religious person and I believed that I was following the same religion that like Noah, like the real Noah followed, and the real Methuselah and the real Enoch and Adam and Eve and all them followed, like I can see that making me feel like comforted and like my life means something in the universe.
Sure.
And I don't know why that was working in this book when it didn't work in the other ones, but I'll give this book credit for somehow it aligned like a syzygy. You know, it was very brief, but it did happen very occasionally.
Yeah, we had that two-headed guy in there somewhere. maybe it was the mystique of just uncovering these ruins that did it more so, because I don't think we necessarily had something like this in the other books.
No.
Because that, I mean, abstracting away from religion was kind of what got me in the beginning, and it really didn't hold my attention for that long, but there's something kind of cool about, just discovering things about the past, doing this little archaeology thing, and it serves narrative purposes just as much as it's supposed to like affect you, the reader,
right?
So for the characters to feel like, oh my god, this is my true origin, this is what happened before me. So there's intrigue there. I think what got me out of it was just because I just realized that they were reciting things out of Genesis.
Yeah, they're literally just reading the Bible to you.
Literally just reading the Bible to me, and I wish they had done... Well, maybe they couldn't have, because it would have been heretical, even though this entire book I'm pretty sure is heretical, but that's not my problem.
Well, props to them for waiting until book 3 to read the Bible to us.
Right.
That takes some restraint.
But like, could it have been a little bit different or filtered or narrativized?
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I want, but it was just so naked that this is just the Bible.
Yeah, it was very naked. That's all the good stuff I have. I'm out. I'm plumb out.
The female characters could have been worse. They could have been worse. Come on.
Yeah, go. Yeah, tell me about that.
Worse.
Tell me about that.
So I'm thinking.
I disavow this.
You disavow this?
No.
There are.
I mean, they could have been worse, but I'm not going to call that good.
Okay, so it is conspicuous to me that every female character has like some sort of goal or desire or interest, agency.
Yeah.
Ariel does all this cool like action hero stuff, then saves the day, and she's like we talked about in the summary, she's interested in the world. I know it's goofy, but Imzara likes drawing animals. It's a bad thing because once they become wives, these character traits cease to exist, but they could have never had any.
They could have never had any to begin with.
Personality.
That's definitely true.
So that's nice.
It's nice. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
whatever. I liked Ariel. I found her like abstractly charming for a second.
Sure. Yeah. She's an unexpected inclusion.
Yes. You wouldn't expect like this barbarian caveman woman to be like
yeah
in this art.
She really does show up like an RPG party member in a way that's like kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so you can get some joy out of that reading it. She's like, I'm the over-leveled barbarian that's gonna like help your party out of this scrape.
Right. Yeah, that's it for me too.
That's about it. But it's okay. We're going to make up for this in the suggestions, right? Like I have some critiques, which are negative, but we can work the suggestions into a more positive vibe. Like we have ways to fix this. We're not just going to bash it.
Right.
Which we could. To be honest, we easily could sit here for like 4 hours and just be like, this sucked.
No, we can't bash it. That's against what we stand here for. No matter how evil or how terrible, any book that comes across the SBU will only get constructive criticism based off of the author's goal for the work.
And I think suggestions count as good things in like kind of a sideways way.
Yeah, in a way.
Peering at her reflection in the oval-shaped gold panel, Nama took inventory of her face. Sometimes things jump out at you differently when you're reading it out loud. She took inventory of her face?
Yeah, 2 eyes, 1 nose.
She's got some palettes up there, some containers. The horizontal lines on her forehead appeared deeper than yesterday. Creases also jagged their way from her eyes and worn lips. Tugging at her skin, she tried in vain to coax the sagging areas to tighten. A scowl made the creases even more pronounced. She sighed and brushed on a colored powder to cover some of the blotches, then pulled over a container of coal and applied it heavily. That's a little better. Working her way down her face, she used the coal to create twisted shapes and patterns that met up with some of the serpent markings across her bare shoulders. I forgot she had tattoos. Yeah, she's awesome.
And a half-shaved head.
Yeah. I can still flaunt you, my beautiful friends, in reference to the tattoos. The embellishments let people see enough to remember her beauty without letting them see the cruel effects of time. She looked at her weathered hands and instantly thought of the seer's leathery skin before he died. You ever thought about a person that you formerly loved and then think, damn, they're fucking leathery, bro.
All right, Saint Jader, let's lay out the sins of this book, and if they weigh more than a feather, then it shall be thrown into a lake of fire, or Anubis eats it.
It gets eaten by a sort of hybrid crocodile creature.
Oh, that's what it is. Never mind. What sins do we have?
I keep forgetting that there are dinosaurs in this world, and I just never ever want to be in a place where I'm reading a book that's the pitch is 50% like Bible literalist reconstruction of the Noah story and 50% dinosaurs. Like, I never want to be in a position where I'm forgetting the dinosaurs are there.
100% agree.
Why are there not more dinosaurs? We've been saying this since book 1 and they just don't learn. Where are the dinosaurs?
I don't know, though, because, like, we did get a dinosaur battle, and there were some Grindex, and then they get attacked by one, and then there's a Triceratops poaching. I know what you're saying.
It has the same problem as the Pokemon games increasingly have. Like, as they move more into the third dimension, the conspicuous absence of Pokemon being worked into day-to-day life is, like, more offensive.
Yeah.
And there should be dinosaurs just, like, casually around. Like, we had that pterodactyl hill where Noah and Imzara get married, and, like, the pterodactyl part of the hill is a throwaway until the pterodactyls, like, I don't know, like, form a figure V and, like, fly around when Noah's proposing, and it's, like, really romantic and shit. Like, there should be more like that, where it's just like, oh, you know, we're building the ark, and there's whatever kind of dinosaur that likes the smell of the tar that comes and, like, hangs around the forge or whatever. You know, like, it doesn't, and it shouldn't matter most of the time, but the fact that the dinosaurs are there is, like, a really cool hook, and, like, why are they not here?
Should be more dinosaurs. Tim and K. Marie, just look at my suggestions for book 2 or book 1. I don't remember what it is about, like, dinosaur defensive architecture or whatever I was fucking talking about. There were some weird, like, sequelitis moments I didn't notice in previous books, or I guess previous book. There's one sentence I want to read to you guys describing Ashur, you know, the little innkeeper man. This is like in chapter 1 or 2, like right when he shows up. The determined look of a man who had spent his life advancing his career through any means necessary gave way to wide, fear-stricken eyes. And there's something about that epithet that is just really bonks me over the head. There's a couple other places where epithets are used to kind of backfill exposition for people who have forgotten or have just jumped in on book 3. And
you're talking about him being like a President Prescott type careerist guy.
Well, that is such a mouthful of a sentence, and just the phrase "spent his life advancing his career through any means necessary," like, it's like a Maiden Butler exposition.
Right.
It's it's completely unnecessary, and I feel like there's literally any other way you could have done that.
It's because they know that we won't remember, because they know on some level that they haven't done the work to actually establish that he's a careerist. It's just something they've said in book 2. And so now they're just repeating it in case you forgot.
Right.
Because they never did show it. Like, he just, I don't know, he's just, like, sort of more interested in, like, rising up into the daddy council than he is in being like Christian or whatever.
And that's the first downfall of every true man,
is trying too hard to be a daddy. It chooses you. This novel has a really bad tendency to just kind of gloss over ideas and character beats that could themselves, like, sustain entire short stories, if not novels. For example, this quote: Noah suspected Imzara refused to think too much about the death of Tubal-Cain because she often blamed herself for losing their first child after her father's death.
Oh my god. Are we going to say any more about that?
No, I'm just going to leave that there, because that's what the novel does, so why should I try?
Okay, I feel like there's a short story or
right,
even a novel.
Right, and especially in this book where Imzara gets, like, so little play.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait, so Imzara is, like, harboring this crushing guilt about her child dying, and somehow for her child dying is, like, linked to the death of, like, a dear friend, and also, like, her father? Like, can I know more about that? Like, is there more to say? Surely there is.
Well, you just have to wait for the Imzara spinoff. Well,
Imzara, woman of painting.
Ooh, woman of tincture, the
painted,
color.
painted world of Imzoriandel.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And that I feel is a testament to the fact that these characters could have been interesting,
Yeah.
but they are hoisted time and time again on their own petard
Yeah.
that like they have to have everyone be so righteous. And like I'm not a biblical scholar, so I don't know. But one repentant soul is more celebrated in heaven than 99 others that were perfect. And
That's kind of beautiful.
it's very beautiful. I love that old Gospel of Luke, but the point is like, is this really so aspirational? Like what are we gaining by sacrificing so much of characterization here?
Right. Why do we have to like sandblast all of like the rough edges off of these characters? Because I honestly, I think what it is the didactic aim of the book getting in the way of it being like a story.
Good. Oh yeah,
right?
A story.
Because it's so fixated on teaching its apparently young audience that this is how one ought to be, that it can't actually depict people as they are.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And it's ultimately like shooting itself in the foot, I think, because this is unrealistic. Like your young adult self would read this and be like, well, this in no way resembles me or anyone that I have ever known.
Right.
And so I can't connect to it even remotely. Like Noah needs to be kind of a bad guy, at least in some tedious way, that the novel acknowledges and actually deals with, if we are going to be able to believe that he's like a human person.
Right.
Because right now he kind of feels like a robot.
He does feel like a robot.
And it really undermines this thing that creationists are always saying, which is that God gave people free will because God wanted people who would be able to choose to love him as opposed to be made to love him. When in effect, like reading this book, it feels like Noah, I mean, he does technically have like agency. He does technically choose to love God, but he never has to fight for it. Like it comes so easily to him. And again, I think that is the authors of the book saying like, this is how it should be. This is how it needs to be. Like they're trying to grip reality by the shoulders and say like, this is how the world ought to be.
Right.
And they're so fixated on that they can't realize that like it never will be. It never will be, whether or not Christianity is like capital F factual or capital T true. Like people are always going to have like real doubts, and this is not a viable path to teaching them how to deal with them.
Especially in light of how much they're using fear, especially in this book with the whole, oh, the fires of hell, they're eating me alive kind of thing. Like this is like, I don't remember deaths being like this in previous installments. So out of nowhere, they're doing the thing where they're just like, you know, trying to convert people out of fear of damnation rather than, hey, the creator's cool. And I know they're not the only people to do it this way, so I'm sure they just learned it from somewhere or another. But if you're trying to convert people, it's not a very lasting solution to lead with this much fear.
Right.
And I just don't understand this almost cartoonish thing. There's an apocryphal story of Anton LaVey's death that's the exact same thing, and I wonder if that's just like stolen from it or whatever.
Like he's like writhing and like, oh
yeah, it was something like, oh yeah, I take it all back. I accept Jesus
not into
Christ.
The pit. It burns.
I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. I may be wrong. You know, I'm not really into LaVey and Satanism. I think it's cool, but you know, it's not my thing. So I don't know if that's like he did or not.
Right.
But either way, the narrative has been weaponized by Christians to instill the fear of damnation.
It's very Pascal's wager, like, and it's in that it's like so pragmatic to the point that it like loses all of its emotional power. Like, I don't know, nobody's gonna want to be a Christian under duress, right? Like,
right.
They might do it, but like, do you really want somebody to be a Christian for that reason?
Exactly.
Like if I was a Christian, I would not. I would want like if I believe that God was like love or whatever, I would want people to actually love God, like want to love God,
right.
And not believe that God was like literally like dangling a sword or like a flood over their heads.
Right. I know this is all just like fedora atheist like topics, but again, this is just isolated to the specific book that I'm talking about this.
Well, it's a failure of the book. I mean, it certainly isn't convincing me. It's not convincing you.
No.
And I don't think it would have convinced like like very explicitly Christian versions of myself in the past.
Sure.
Like, and I don't think it would convince Christians today, because I don't think this book did do well.
No.
Like, I don't think anybody's read this.
I don't think so. I think I was one of the only 70 reviews of this book on Goodreads, or something very, very low.
So it's not working. It's not working for
working.
anybody. And it's not working with like the massive financial and institutional backing that the Ark Encounter and the Discovery Institute have.
Somehow.
And that's embarrassing.
This is incredibly embarrassing.
Quite frankly, embarrassing.
They should have hired us.
We'll get you fixed right up.
I don't like the couscous. It is so incredibly gross and upsetting to me, more than any of the other, like, I love being barefoot and pregnant things that like a woman like makes a conscious decision to do, is that Noah is like, well, I was prophesized that all of my children would have wives. So given this opportunity to leave camp for a bit, I know that I'm going to find a wife. So he's just like eyeing every woman he comes across, and the implication of that is just so ekelhaft. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that is really weird, actually. I didn't think of it in those terms, but he was foretold, and by definition, the prophecy is that which has been foretold. So, like, he knows that if he goes looking for a lady for his son to fuck, like, he's gonna find it.
Which is his explicit goal.
Yeah, that's the even weirder thing, too, because it's not just, like, I want my son to, like, have the opportunity to fall in love before the world ends. It's, I need my son to be able to have children.
Right.
Like, there's like a genetic concern.
Yeah, or it's just
like, what?
I don't know. My dad's never chaperoned me on date finding missions before, so maybe this is a cultural thing.
Are the straights okay, you guys?
Right, are the
like,
straights okay?
I don't know. It kind of feels like an apt question, actually, in this moment.
This is terrible, but I would have almost preferred that like a woman for Shim showed up out of the woods like the animals did, because at least they wouldn't have been hunting, Ariel could have just been like, hey, I just escaped this crazy fucking death cult. You guys look friendly. And then it could have gone from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it would still have been like bad and misogynist, but like it's so much worse the way that it is.
It is really weird. Okay. That's gross.
Tabling that for now.
I know we talked about it kind of already, but like so much of the conflict in this novel is like filtered through this domestic, like small town Midwestern tedium.
Yes.
Which, if it had been good, then it would be good. But it's bad, so it's bad. Like, okay, example. When it seems like Perlek is thinking about leaving the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not narratively interesting, but it's not intrinsically narratively disinteresting. It's disinteresting because of the presentation. Like, there's no tense reaction of like, oh man, it would be really bad if our one metalworker bailed before the arc was done, because instead the metalworking is already like basically done.
Right.
So they just don't need him anymore. And instead we have this like, oh no, like I'm gonna miss my dead friend's son if he doesn't live in the neighborhood anymore. Which, okay, let me put my bias on the table. I think that's inherently less interesting than the metalworking thing, but it could still work, especially potentially for the target audience, if there was real tension involved. But there is no real tension involved because Noah doesn't actually seem to care all that much. And part of him not caring has to do with him knowing what the outcome is going to be. Right. But again, if Noah was a real human person, he would care despite knowing the outcome. There would be an agony of knowing that this guy is going to die, whether he stays or whether he leaves. And like this futile, like, oh, I want him to stay, even though I know that if he stays, he'll still die. Right. Why do I want that? That's irrational. I hate myself for wanting that. It's against God's design. It's right there. It's right there, you guys.
It's right there.
Like, and I don't know, like Perlek is the best example of this, I think, because he has such a strong connection to characters we already care about.
Yeah.
You could also, do this, you could run this thought experiment with other characters, but we just care about them less intrinsically. Like,
sure.
Yvette, like, I don't even know who the fuck that is. She's like the descendant of somebody else who mattered like 3 fucking books ago.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, whatever.
I think so. Yeah. And I think the other side of the coin from Noah in those situations is the characters themselves, again, with the everyone knows that they're going to die thing. A lot of characters, I think it might have been Perlek, who was like, oh, we might as well keep helping you on this arc. I mean, we're probably going to die of old age anyways before it's done because it's going to take so long. Mm-hmm. And like the closest we get to like actual genuine tension about this is with Jera. And I guess he gets like murdered by the Havilites or dies in the flood or something.
Yeah.
I hope he was right with God. And like even one person being like, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, and like trying to sabotage the ark.
It
or
could
something.
At least be Nama. Like she's already like on her hands and knees, like on the other side of this chasm at the end. She could be like, I don't want to die, but instead she just like silently like dies. Like she does die, but it's Noah is like, you should have, I don't know, been a creator.
Right.
And then she's like, okay. Boosh.
Yeah. That's how it is. But like it's not just adversarial characters, it's like everybody.
Right, no, it would be better coming from like a friendly.
Right. So it's just it's right there. It's right there, and it's crazy that this wasn't done.
Yeah. It is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. For a book that cares so much about religion, I can't escape the sensation that so much religion in this book is just aesthetics. Prayers to the creator and prayers to Nakash, as I mentioned in the summary, are structurally and contentally nearly identical. It's literally just, what is it, Control H?
Yeah.
It's literally just God Control H for Nakash, or vice versa, if you prefer. When God heals someone after a prayer, though, we're meant to take it just because that it's good because it's God.
Mm-hmm.
But it's spooky and bad when Nakash does it because he's not God.
Right.
Like it's building off of the reader's prior assumptions, which, like, you know, conceptually all literature does, I guess. But it highlights in this case, I think, a fact that the authors haven't reflected enough on like what would it actually mean if there was another entity that had powers that were at least like superficially equivalent to God's, but this character like wasn't God. Like, what is that? Like, from a human's point of view, why would they believe that God is the good one and the devil is the bad one, right? Like, because at a certain point, it just becomes a game of like, he said, she said.
Right.
Where like God and the angels say that God is good, but Nakash might be saying that God is bad and he is good. And like the humans don't actually have any evidence either way.
Yeah.
And in this world where we're expected to just believe Noah is telling the truth about the flood because God told him so, I don't understand like why we're supposed to believe who we're supposed to believe, aside from, again, just like the prior assumptions that we entered the text with.
Faith?
But like you could have faith in Nakash too.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Like it's purely okay, I'm scattering my points a little bit messily right now, but it's really truly like an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
Like Nakash is scary because he's associated with things that young Earth creationists find scary, like blood and tattoos,
shaved heads on women,
and women's
snake.
Yeah, and snakes. Like there's nothing actually substantively different, which is why we have to shoehorn in this moment that we keep memeing on with like, oh, ouchie, I'm burning to death. Like, right? Because otherwise we would have no reason to believe that God's actually good.
Right.
It's very King in Yellow, actually, I think, because it's like both of these entities are beyond the character's comprehension, and you don't have really any evidence one way or the other about which, if either, is the ultimate good or the ultimate power. And so you have to choose them, because you're going to die, and then you're going to go to one domain or the other.
Right.
You know?
Eden is boring.
Eden is really boring.
Eden is... I really thought that there would be some sort of mystique or excitement there. At least new trees other than gopher wood. Exciting creature. The cherubim... Oh, this is interesting. This is something else from the appendix. Yeah. So the cherubim are in the actual Bible story are supposed to have 4 faces. Like one is a human, and then there are various animals or creatures of some kind. They said, let me see if I can find the quote. They said something like, we didn't want to include this because it would be confusing to readers, so we just had the scenes blocked to where the cherubim were always facing directly ahead and didn't describe it in the battle scene because they were too far away. And it just kind of speaks to
hate things that are interesting. I hate things that are interesting. Stop being interesting, Bible. Everything needs to be straightforward.
Right. It speaks to a very interesting lack of interest in things that are interesting. Just like, why? We're in like the focal point of humanity. What? Give me something, an electrical feel in the air, or I don't know, some visual descriptions that aren't of the normal woods. I don't even know what exactly it would look like, because that's your job, authors. You're the one who wrote this stupid book.
Right. You get to do something fun, and then you just restrict it for yourself because you know your target audience won't like it, which is in direct contradiction to your professed aim of doing the Bible right. This is the Kate Corain problem all over again. It's like, look, we're doing the Bible the real way. Oh, but actually, like, we want to highlight the places where what we're doing is different from what the Bible is doing. Because that's another thing they explicitly say in one of the appendices. Is like,
because they want to
we
challenge
did make
you.
some changes, but those are to challenge you. But we actually want to be completely accurate sometimes. Which is it? Which is it?
Case in point, there's this other thing that I had highlighted. They're talking about like what the lacquer of the boat was made out of. So in the book, it's like sap or tar or something. Many people have assumed that Noah would have used something like bitumen to coat the interior and exterior of the ark per God's command in Genesis 6:14. A petroleum-based substance like bitumen might work for preserving and sealing a wood ship.
Me when I'm funded by big oil. Sorry, go on.
However, it is unlikely that Noah would have used such a material because much of the petroleum-based substances we know of today are likely a result of a huge
dinosaur bones.
Of a huge amount of biotic material buried during the flood. Exactly, Jay. Those mean the exact same things.
Right. Don't at me, science people. I don't care.
I don't care, science. It's just so interesting to me, the amount of thought in this one sentence. And then like, oh, we didn't want to have the accurate cherubim.
Because that's confusing. But bitumen and petroleum, don't even get me started.
If you have anything petroleum-based, get the fuck out of my Bible club.
All right, well, Tim and K. Marie, you're free to run the St. Battlestar University Bible Club however you please. For now. I should have said this earlier when you were talking about misogyny, but there's another really creepy moment where after son 1 is born, that's Japheth, Noah and Imzara are fantasizing about him marrying Reyna. That was the girl that was formerly terminally dying. That's redundant. Yeah. She was formerly... critically wounded or something? Like that, she was at 1 HP. She was like blinking. But then after a time skip in his internal narration, Noah notes how glad he is to live in like a tiny community where indeed son number 1 and Reyna have no choice but to fall in love because there are no other women available. So it's like, look, I'm playing with my little dolls that are actually like real people, and like I'm choosing who fucks and who doesn't fuck, which really gives me that, you know, high control group vibe that I was alluding to.
What were you thinking with these? Like, is this supposed to be some kind of charming little quirky matchmaker thing?
I know. I think it's supposed to be cute. Like, I think it's supposed to be like a fetishization of like a small town life that no longer exists, you know, where people live in these communities that really are so insular that you can be fairly confident that people who are in the same age cohort will fall in love, and like your family will become your neighbor's family, and everybody will be connected, and we'll all circle around the church on Easter and sing Kumbaya or whatever. Like that's the vibe that it's giving me.
As they're wont to do.
Yeah. Another really weird thing that has to do with the kids is that, okay, so Shem, I think that's son 2, maybe 3.
It's one of the sons.
He takes after Imzara because he loves animals, right?
Right.
The number one and only thing we know about him is that he loves animals. But then he is the character who, in some chapter or another, goes out of his way to emphasize that he thinks that human life is worth more than animal life. So we have a character who has one character trait, and then in one of the only scenes where they actually say anything of substance, they're like, oh, but don't worry, I know that animals actually ain't shit. And it's like, why? Like, why would you do that? It's just really weird.
Yeah. God, his sons are so weird.
They are
like the weirdest little...
Of course they are. They're raised in a cult.
Yeah,
like,
okay, fair. It's just...
They're all homeschooled.
Yeah. That's not a genuine critique. Like, I can't, like, facilitate this through any exact examples, but they're just so weird. They're just, like, sullen little misfit losers.
They are. I wish we spent more time with them, but I have more of a note about that for the suggestions, so I'll save it.
Maybe this will be in one of your fancy suggestions, but the immensity of characters is terrible.
It is terrible. I don't have anything for that.
It's really, really bad.
We need some kind of global calamity to sort of prune that.
Start sinning.
I feel like something about the way... Okay, so animals as like a concept feel kind of mishandled.
Okay.
Because there are animals that like some people don't know the names of. Am I imagining that? Are there ever animals that they don't know the names of?
Yes. The I don't know about it in this book, but the Pachycephalosaurus is in book 2. They didn't know the name of.
This just makes me wonder, like, what's the point of Adam, presumably in the past, naming all the animals, if in this book the characters who are most closely aligned with creatorism don't know the names of animals? Like, that's one of the like 3 things that Adam is like really known for. And if they rename them, isn't that a heresy? Because like Adam named them already.
Maybe he didn't end up writing it on his house wall before he died. You know, another thing that was mentioned in the interviews a lot was oh, you know, Noah's our ancestor. We're going to see him one day. And this book makes me scared to see him. I don't know if I want to meet our great 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 grandfather or whatever they said.
What are you so afraid of?
I just feel like I couldn't get a word in edgewise, you know? He's got this one-track mind two-track minds, you know, love the creator and find suitable mates for my sons. And that's all he cares about. And I don't think that's what you guys wanted from your Noah book.
No, I mean, I guess this is supposed to be a character that's like relatable to young men or something.
Well, I'm an old man, so I don't know. Methuselah was relatable to me. Throw that back in the good section. That crazy old man.
I loved it when he talked about Link being the greatest hero in Korodai or whatever he said.
Something like that.
That was good. I guess I'll just emphasize here at the end of the critique section, like, I feel like it bears stating explicitly once more, it's just really nasty that there are characters who avowedly believe in God, and yet because they make the quote-unquote mistake of not just taking Noah at face value when he says the world is going to end, like, the novel implies that they deserve to die. And it does try to say, like, oh, well, they'll be okay, right? Like,
they're going to heaven.
They're going to heaven. Like, in their final moments, there'll be a visage of peace upon them or whatever. But it's just so dark.
Yeah.
That these characters are, apparently they are virtuous, right? Because they're going to heaven. But Noah was the only righteous man of his generation somehow. Like, that just feels like a direct contradiction to me, and to thrust the knife into these characters that just don't seem to deserve it any more or less than anybody else. It doesn't sit right with me at all.
And I don't even think that it's in line with scripture the way that our authors think it is, because the world is evil. I was expecting, you know, way back when we started this, that Havil would conquer the entire world.
Right.
Everyone remotely good would die or be killed or get eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And then, you know, the world would become like a prehistoric dystopia.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
And because, I mean, I'm sure someone could come up with another way to do this, or maybe there's an apologist out there who can explain this better than Tim Chafee can. But like, that's like the only justifiable thing for, like, okay, let's flood the world. You know, these 7 people or 8 people are the only good people in the world, so let's save these guys and get away with the rest. I thought it would be so incredibly evil, but it's not.
And I think that's really the core of the problem. Like, these characters are not the last 8 righteous people in their generation.
Right.
They're just not.
And that, again, I thought that was the point of Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I've not read Genesis in a while anyways, so I don't know.
I went and reread, like, the 3 chapters that are primarily about Noah in preparation for this episode. And it literally says, like, Noah, well, I shouldn't say literally, because then someone's going to be like, you misquoted it.
Yeah.
But, like, it says that Noah was, like, the only man who was righteous in his generation, and so that's why him and his wife and their kids get to be the ones on the ark.
Right.
And then the book goes and shows us something else. But
Right.
then it tries to say, like, oh, well, you know, like, they still deserved it because they didn't believe enough. It's like,
Right.
well, what, like, just because they didn't believe what Noah said? Like, Noah's not God. Why should they believe Noah? Like, it seems like what this book is implicitly arguing for is a worldview where if you're a Christian or a creatorite, you should just believe everything that everybody says about God in like a very pragmatic way. Because if you don't, you might fall victim to, you know, whatever catastrophe that the person is prophesying.
Right. And maybe
that's not sustainable.
No,
it's really not.
No, it's not. You just blindly believe anyone who's like, okay, I had a private off-screen conversation with God, and you just got to trust me on this. You got to die, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be fine, and I'll vouch for you in heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder and this is very, very speculative and almost in bad faith, but I wonder if the fact that this just feels like our world, but maybe a little bit eviler, is supposed to really make us fear the next flood and like prime us for further indoctrination. Maybe that was the point. Because I can't imagine the ball was dropped so incredibly badly in this one regard. Like, I kind of wonder if there might be an element of subterfuge.
My reading of it is that they just never actually committed to the bit.
Oh,
like,
okay.
They were caught between too many priorities. They want to speculate about the Bible, but they also want to represent it in the truest way possible. They want to represent it in the truest way possible, but that conflicts with what their target audience values. So they have to kind of, throw them a couple of dinosaur bones, if you will. And they never just said, like, this is what we're gonna do.
Right.
And so we end up with, like, kind of a mess.
This terrible, terrible mess. It just is not a piece of apologia. No. It's not even a piece of rhetoric. Something that it's one of those books that I pretend to know more about than I actually do. The Summa Theologica. Are you familiar at all?
Tell me.
It's a series of like assertions, and it's a work of apologism where it's like, it would seem that there is no God. It has been argued, and he'll lay out counterpoint, and then give his explanation for why God is omnipotent, why God exists, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm. Is this Aquinas?
This Aquinas.
Okay.
It's Aquinas. And it was so interesting to me that this book exists from, my Noah adjacent upbringing, where religion was so rigid that I didn't realize that Mr. freaking Thomas Aquinas, inventor of whatever kind of shit, has presented this reality in which religion can be interrogated. I'm sure there's some straw manning in that book somewhere, but there's so much space given to counterpoints and like debunking counterpoints, whether or not you think it makes a point.
It's a good faith.
It's a
debate.
To my understanding, it feels like it is, or at least it presents itself as such. Okay. That is something that could convert people,
right?
Because it lays out points and counterpoints, and it doesn't just say, but God says so.
Right.
And maybe it does in like the 7 millionth tractate, because there's a million of like pages of this. Like I said, I pretend to know way more about this than I actually do.
Yeah.
But the concept of it existing is interesting to me in comparison to this little parable that is not remotely possible to be effective.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because, and I'll just speak for myself here, I'm not speaking, for Andrew or for SBU as an entity when I say this. It is my opinion that apologetics is a fundamentally dishonest pursuit. Like, I think that the goal of apologetics is to start with an assumption, with a conclusion, and then work backwards to make the world fit that conclusion.
Yeah, sure.
And when, as in this book, the way that we try to get back to that conclusion clashes with what we know to be true about reality, it just evinces itself of like its flawed nature.
Sure.
Which kind of, if you think about it, reflects the fallen nature of man. So.
Wow. It all comes full circle.
It does.
And you can read more about it in the Bible.
Should I do like a cave woman voice for Ariel?
I mean, you probably should. Go ahead and do your best cave woman voice.
Maybe we'll skip that. The creator is closing the door, Ariel said. As the door swung toward him, Noah stared down at Nama and her soldiers and shook his head as a sense of sorrow mixed with relief struck him.
Glad I don't gotta deal with these guys anymore.
Oh my god. I'm really sad, but trust me, I'm really sad, but also I'm like relieved, and like my interior world's really complex, you guys. She screamed something at him just before the door slammed shut with a thud that instantly dampened the sounds from outside. An array of animal sounds within the ark overpowered the muffled screams, wind, torrential rain, and thunder. Noah quickly latched the door. He turned and stared in amazement at his family. Emzara leaned against him and he held her tight. Shem hugged Ariel. God. While she let out a deep sigh. Kaiza put her hand on Ham's back. I forgot about her completely. And Ham too. As he loosened the rope around his waist and let it fall to the ground. Japheth watched Reyna as she moved silently to the door, her face emotionless as if she were in shock. She put her hand on it and fell to her knees, sobbing. Japheth hurried to kneel down beside her. She collapsed in his arms and wept. An animal's snort beside them grabbed his attention. One of the chariot beasts sniffed at Imzara's feet, then gently brushed its long brown snout against her leg. Imzara glanced up at Noah.
I'd better go and put these two in their enclosure.
Those tuskers need to be put away too. Then we'll all meet in the sitting room. They have a sitting room?
They have a sitting room.
They have a
in the
foyer?
yard. Sure, why not?
We need to pray and thank the Most High for his provision and protection. Imzara lightly kissed his cheek and then gestured toward the rest of her family.
Look, it's just as the Creator told you so long ago. The Ark will be for you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives.
Still hurting from the heightened awareness that everyone outside the Ark would soon be gone, but thankful for God's mercy to him and his family, Noah nodded and pulled Imzara close again. Well, that just happened. Another reminder that we can always trust the Creator.
I can't believe you skipped this paragraph that said an image of Garen and Lileel, who are like people who have gone away at this point, popped into his mind. Had they survived until now? What about Perlek and Eva? We know they're dead. Jara and Peavy, Misha and the rest of his siblings, they're dead.
They're all fucking dead, Noah. Do you think that the historically attested worldwide flood also affected Carcosa? Like, do you think that's why Carcosa fell?
No, and I have a very good reason to believe this.
Okay.
So they have towers that go behind the moon,
That's correct,
right?
2 of them.
So the 2 moons, or the 2 towers.
Well, there's at least 2 towers.
Okay, multiple towers going behind
Probably
multiple moons.
Yeah.
The moons affect the tides.
Okay.
And if they are below hypostasis, they do not have the celestial energy required to pull them. So
the moons can't pull the tides.
Right.
Okay.
So there would have been no flood on Carcosa.
Okay, so it was something else.
Probably your little what was it? The repairer of reputations little guy.
You think he caused the flood?
Yeah, I think he did.
Well, but he comes like way after.
You know, if you've never watched my Sonic High School video, I don't think I'm watching your King in Yellow
That's
videos.
fair, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. You at least watched the My Little Pony one, right?
Of course I watched the My Little Pony one. Are you kidding? That's crazy.
If you have a favorite My Little Pony fan fiction you want J Podcast to read, link it in the comments below, because I'm in the mood to do another one.
That'd be
but
a
it
good
can't
one.
be too long, and it can't be too short, and it can't be like a joke one.
And it can't be something that Jay won't read, and it can't be too
Well, that goes
bad.
without saying. Okay, but seriously, like it can't be too long, it can't be too short, and it can't be one that's just a meme. Because I found another one by the same author as the person who did The Star in Yellow, and it's like explicitly a joke. And so I can't really critique it. Do you think that Moses could part the Lake of Holly?
Okay, we're going to move on to suggestions. I'll start. There was a phrase that popped into my head a little bit into reading this that I would like to see developed upon.
TFLD.
Other than TFLD.
DFTBA.
Other than that, you know, and I'm going to commit one of the most egregious sins that I could commit, which is talk about the TV show A Game of Thrones, which is I have very mixed feelings about, mostly negative, and I've continued to sour more on A Song of Ice and Fire every day. There is one single shot in the last season of Game of Thrones I really like. They're in a southern city. I'll keep things very general because Jay doesn't know what I'm talking about.
And
They're in
Jay
a southern,
doesn't gaff.
And Jay doesn't gaff. They're in a southern city that is usually never cold. And, you know, there's this night that runs in and the camera just stays focused on the outer gates of the city, and the night gets smaller and smaller. Maybe the night's there, I don't remember. And slowly snow starts to fall, signaling the oncoming fight and the changing world. And I would like to see this phrase, climate anxiety, be more manifest in this story. I think that we have abortive efforts to have this here and there. Someone was like, oh, it's been colder and colder lately.
There's one earthquake.
There's one earthquake, but like, little tiny, little kind of scary details. Like,
Oh, it's
no,
getting more humid.
it's getting more humid. I noticed it was raining for longer than it normally does. I don't remember that river being as
It burst its banks for the third time this season.
right. I yeah, it's never been so big and swollen before.
Hey yo.
The rivers swell, Jay. Grow up. Point is, I don't know if this would be contrary to scripture or whatever, but like a little bit of just like, uh-oh, something doesn't look right here. It's not as dry as it used to be. Could go a long way in selling tension where there might not otherwise be.
Yeah, no, I really buy that. I think that would be great. I don't know why it's not there. Now that you've said it, it seems like incredibly obvious.
Is one of those suggestions where if you go too far, it'll be ham-fisted
right,
and terrible.
It'll be silly.
But like, I mean, just little things here and there.
And it could do things to, like, it doesn't have to be purely aesthetic. Like, say maybe, I don't know, they had a water wheel that was like running a sawmill, but then the river gets too high.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, oh, we got to figure out like how to raise the water wheel on the sawmill or something like that. Like, so it can matter, like in small ways. And then like little things like that could lead to character tension. Like maybe whoever's running the sawmill doesn't get along with the architect who raises the water wheel or whatever, right? Like if we're going to commit to this small town tedium, there's ways we can do it where it actually is consequential for the plot.
I'm hemming and hawing because like that's an acceptable route to take, but I don't need it to be plot relevant. I just need
it doesn't have to be.
I just need it to give me something to care about.
Right.
But I like your water wheel thing.
Something to care about would be really nice. Like I was reading this just like gritting my teeth until my beloved Nama was on screen again. And then I was like, yay, my Blorbo is here. My Blorbo. And you don't want to be tolerating Noah in your Noah book.
No. And tolerating him is about the best you can do.
That's generous. So in the opening chapters, as I mentioned in my summary, we have sort of like 3 points of view initially. We have Noah, Zara, and Nama. And each of those main parties has an incapacitated party member. And that parallelism is so conspicuous. Like on Nama's side, it's her dad who she hates. On Noah's side, it's the little girl, Reyna. And then on Imzara's side, it's Perlek.
Yes.
And all 3 of those characters go on to matter like quite a bit. Like they all do sort of direct the plot in some way or another. But the fact that they are all incapacitated could be retooled into a metaphor for something. I thought about this for a while and I couldn't really think of like what the metaphor would be. But also if you don't want to take that route, we could just show like how these different characters care for people who are in states of need, because that's like a very Christian thing, right? Like that's a Christian thing, is to care for people who are less well off than yourself. I mean, I know this is like Old Testament, but in the New Testament Jesus does a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
And just the most obvious example is like if we can have more cruelty from Nama, like in the face of her incapacitated, dying dad, like she could do more to try to make sure his condition worsens. Meanwhile, Imzara could take greater pains to care for Perlek. And she actually does do some of that, which is part of what inspired me to think more about this. Because I was like, are they taking some kind of route here where they're going to contrast how Noah as a man is like not well equipped to take care of Reyna, whereas Imzara as a woman is, and they don't, like, to be fair, they're not misogynist in that particular way.
Right.
But it got me thinking, like, is that what they're going to do? And I don't want them to do that, but there could be things that they do to show, just how men and how women care for people in need differently, like at a minimum, right?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't have to be problematic and it could still be effective.
I think that would be really cute. To be charitable, is that already not kind of there?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Because,
No.
like, I mean, the Ma's still, like, pretty evil about the whole thing.
But it doesn't build to anything. Like, all 3
Fair.
of these problems work themselves out really, like, in time skips, basically. Because Lamech gets better while the battle is happening. Reyna gets better. I don't even remember when. And then Perlek does get better in part because Imzara helped care for him, but also just because they have some time to sail down the river where he can rest.
Right.
So it's like, the problem just solves itself because we trusted in God. Yeah. And that's really the problem at the end of the day, is that, like, we have this world where God can and will intervene on behalf of those that he cares about and like just fix everything.
So I already talked about Eden being boring, and I kind of want to abstract this to the entire world is boring and anachronistic and bad and not fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, dinosaur architecture, whatever. It bothers me immensely, for example, that Noah can write, honestly. Like, that Noah is literate. He is a lettered man.
Yeah.
It bothers me even more than that he uses a pen and inkwell, I guess like a quill and inkwell.
Oh, he? I didn't even clock that.
Yeah. I guess it's been lost to time, but what writing system is he using? And it bothers me that he's using a lantern to illuminate the paper that he's writing upon. And like, and there are couriers, read mailmen who like track you down and find letters. I think he gets a letter from his...
delivers scrolls to people where he writes little stories or whatever.
So there's this weird hodgepodge of like writing materials that feels so eclectic, and it doesn't make sense that it would be eclectic because we're pre-apocalypse, not post-apocalypse. So where's all this stuff coming from? I would almost rather... Again, like I don't even think that Noah should be literate in this case. I almost wish that couriers were like little homers, Greek homers, not the yellow guy.
Oh.
Little homers that like could recite messages and ran around, or I don't know, at least clay tablets. I know that like there was papyrus, and then there were there was papyrus, and before that there was cuneiform.
The spaghetti guy?
Yeah, the spaghetti guy, exactly. I don't know. It's like they chose the least interesting like versions of all of these.
Well, why wouldn't they? They did that everywhere else.
I know, but
so like what would you have them do?
The orators. I would have things be oral,
okay,
or
everything's oral.
Or the cave paintings on Adam and Eve's house or something. That could be fun. Like, what if it was pictographic to gesture towards hieroglyphs and the things that they found in like all those old paintings of...
I think that's in France.
And maybe that could like be some more like Bible literalism for us. I don't know. Is anyone else bothered by this? I feel like I'm the only one bothered by this.
No, I mean, it should bother me, but inexplicably it doesn't. I'm sure that there will be people who will flock to your aid in the comments. Because it is weird.
Or they have like super strong guys lugging around giant clay tablets that are like the letters of this world.
That could be something else for the Nephilim to do.
Okay.
Because they're very big and strong, and they seem stupid, right? Like they
seem of low intelligence.
Smart. Like they could be, in addition to like combat units, they could also be responsible for carrying around the world's libraries, right? Like they have these, I don't know, buckets, or maybe even like carts full of tablets,
right?
Like in Elden Ring, the giants that carry around the big carriages,
exactly,
but
like
they're full of literature,
right?
Which is kind of what we are here at SBU.
We're the two impaled giants that are crawling around. It really just feels like we're in rural Suggestionville. It doesn't feel like we're in a pre-lapsarian, or I guess it's post-lapsarian.
It's post-lapsarian.
Okay,
but
whatever.
Second lapse.
Yes, second lapse. Pre-duo lapsation. It's just so mundane, and anything could have been added to make this more fun.
It is a problem because there are explicitly evil things that happen, like being conscripted into non-consensual prostitution at like a societal level, and baby murder.
Yes.
But then the rest of the time, people's like sins that are allegedly punishable by death seem very uninteresting. Like Ater, who in books 1 and 2, belonged to like a different religion that was like sort of like meditation and martial arts centric. Like his biggest crime was that he belonged to that religion,
to the out group,
is really not that harmful. Like, I mean, in the Christian worldview, it's harmful to him because he's like denying reality and he's going to go to hell. But like, what's he doing wrong? And then again, a lot of the characters in this book, the righteous ones, their biggest sin is not just believing Noah because he said so. And I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Speaking of things I don't buy, I'm so confused by the oblique references to spells that pop up with increased frequency in this book, like spells that allow Nama to do things on behalf of Nakash, but we never get like the text of those spells. It's a couple of times it happens. One is like when she's healing her mentor, allegedly healing him. Like we do get a couple of prayers, but there are more references to prayers and spells than we actually see in text. And I just want to see them more. I want to see what the spells actually look like. Let us see like why they're so scary or bad or whatever. Because if you want to convince us that they're bad, like, why are they bad? Like, I just want to know, you know? Like, I'm not actually willing to believe you, but like, for the sake of argument, I'm willing to believe that they're bad. You just have to actually tell me.
And in the final battle, Nama could like do a little blood ritual and cast out a giant snake, and the giant snake could fight the cherubim, and they could like go back and forth and do some awesome shit. But the power of God would triumph over the power of evil at the end. This is amazing. Yeah, more spells.
It's right there.
More spells.
Not just like why does this happen narratively, but why does Nama, the character, choose to amass an army to march on Eden when she knows that she has snake magic on her side?
Yeah.
Like, she never, after the time that she successfully turns her dad's crown into a snake and it kills him, never again does she try to turn something into a snake and kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like, why not? I don't know. Like, in her moment of desperation, at the very end, she could be trying to, like, turn the Ark into a fucking snake or something, right? Like, I mean, obviously it wouldn't work, but why doesn't she try? She
Maybe the Ark starts to hiss a little bit, but it doesn't work at the end of the day. Okay, I'm really hung up on my snake battle. Put that in there.
But if you can't even depict Satanism with the explicit rhetorical aim of showing why it sucks and will kill you, like, that's a problem, right? Like, if you can't even strawman your opposition, like, if your opposition is so horrifying to you, like, come on, you know?
That goes back to what I was saying about the apologism with the Summa Theologica. You know, lay out the counterpoints so then you can own them in the marketplace of ideas.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think it would take a significant cultural upheaval in order for our suggestions to be accepted.
I think so. There was a volcanic eruption at the end of the first?
Near the middle of the second.
Near the middle of the second book.
Yeah.
Why is the geography of the world not affected by that? Like, what? This could tie into your weather thing. Like, why does this volcanic... Like, characters allude to it. They do say something about, like, the one time the mountain, like, started spitting smoke or whatever. But given that we now know that Havil and Iri Geshem are, like, rather close to each other, like, at least in terms of how we understand geography today, you would think that this would affect the climate. You would think that it would certainly affect the geography of Havil, which, again, is built into the slopes of said volcano. Like, is the city not destroyed? Is that not a precedent for people moving to Iri Geshem and like taking over the culture there? Is that cloud of debris not like harming the ability of the Iri Geshemites to, I don't know, like harvest crops or something like that? This could also be I don't know, more present. Like, it comes and it goes, which it just seems like a missed opportunity.
You know, volcanic eruptions can cause global cooling. And there was one character who said, "Oh, it's been pretty cold lately." Okay. So you're dumb. You didn't read. I'm just kidding.
I'm so sorry.
I think you're exactly right. What happened to Volcano Manor? Do young Earth creationists believe in plate tectonics? If you're a young Earth creationist, tell us in the chat.
If you're a young Earth creationist, you've made it this far. Props to you. I'm gonna pick a fight with you.
Oh God.
I think it'd be interesting if Ariel was like a red herring and she had ulterior motives the whole time and she didn't end up actually with any of Noah's kids. Like, if she pretended to help them escape and then she saw the Ark. She doesn't even have to be working for her like original people group. She could just like be secretly evil in some capacity, and she sees the Ark and she's like, "Oh, I fucking hate this. I'm gonna burn it down." And then, like, in the meantime, there's been character development between her and, like, Shem or whoever. And then it's, like, a big betrayal. And they have to, like, stop her. And then they, like, expel her from their group. And then we find another, I don't know, token lady later or whatever.
Okay, that sounds really cool, but for the sake of content, I'll fight you.
Okay, fight me.
That's the dumbest idea ever. I don't know. So where's this random lady gonna come from? You don't have time left before the flood.
Well, you already said, like, there could be ladies that just, like, I don't know, are driven into the camp, like, fleeing from whoever.
So you just want a Deus Ex lady coming out of the woods, like, at the
Always.
11th hour?
Always. Well, I don't know, maybe she's, like, an escapee of that nomadic group that lived not too far away.
The nomadic group are good guys.
Yeah, but they get destroyed.
Oh, by the Hivelites.
Yeah,
You're right.
So maybe like one of them, and that's somebody that Noah would be familiar with, because they'd be
of good
his
stock,
best friend's sister's kid's cousin's daughter, and he'd be like, I remember from back in the day when I was on the daddy council, your relative didn't fuck with that evil innkeeper guy, and so now you're a worthy mate for my son. Smooch now. Okay,
so now you've actually ruined it, because I'm imagining that scene and it's so accurate to what this book would do. Oh, okay. Shim has a moment of darkness, and he gets really in his head that he's the chosen one. So he goes over to Irisana or whatever, and he holds girlfriend auditions. He's like, "Hey guys, you're all gonna die in a flood. You guys are gonna compete for my hand in marriage."
And Noah's like, "Oh, Shem, not like that."
No, that would be terrible. Don't do that.
That'd be very dark.
That would be terrible.
But it does. I also think that'd be a bad idea, but it does illustrate that if you know that you've been chosen by God because, it's just been predetermined that you're going to be one of the righteous ones, like, is there not a certain type of person for whom that would, like, go to your head? Because it never says, and in fact, Noah and Imzara do have a child that doesn't survive.
Right.
So Noah has more than 3 kids. So Shem could do that and then be killed, and then Noah and Imzara have to realize, oh my god, we need to have another son, because Shem was never destined to begin with. And that would be, like, such a mindfuck.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time to work with this necessarily, but
Actually, we do, because of a suggestion that I have.
Okay.
Which is, we need to restructure this entire series.
Oh my god.
Quite frankly.
Okay.
I just don't think there's a way around it. So, the Noah story mainly spans Genesis chapters 6 through 8.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm no mathematician, but according to my calculations, that's 3 chapters. And we have a trilogy. So we could have a trilogy that sort of loosely mirrors these 3 chapters. Yes? Are we following so far?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Okay, math side of SP, let me know if this checks out.
This is really hard,
It's getting kind of high level.
Yeah.
So in chapter 6 of Genesis, we roughly have kind of like world building, setup, justification for why the flood has to happen. So a lot of what's currently in books 1 and 2 could be condensed, and I think you would have a hard time arguing with me that should just be the case anyways. Yeah. So, okay, right?
Fine, okay.
Book 1 and 2 are now book 1. Book 2, we have this immediate lead up to the flood, so a lot of what's currently in book 3, but then also, and again, a lot of book 3 can be cut entirely or condensed. We don't need so much of this like traveling, questing bullshit that doesn't add anything. And then what we cut can be replaced instead with actual time spent on the arc.
Mm-hmm.
We get so much logistical information that I cut out of my summary about, like, how are we building the proportions of the various animal containment units? How are we building, like, the waste disposal systems? Yes. And a lot of this is expanded upon in the actual Ark encounter, from what I have heard, and I hope that we will see in person someday.
One day.
I dearly hope.
Inshallah.
You can't say that there.
Oh, right.
But yeah, so, like, I think that we have some more time on the arc. We get to see Shem, if he survives,
right,
and Imzara, getting to bond as, the kids, as the mother and son who are very similar, like about animals or whatever.
Sure.
Book 3, fallout of the flood.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes after, including, the kids seeing Noah and his nakedness, Ham being cursed, because that would give us an opportunity to see this darker side of Noah that we've been longing for. And then also maybe some reflection on, like, everybody that is passed, and Noah feeling separated from his family, especially his kids, maybe not so much from Imzara because she would also have endured this, but some separation in that, like, he knew all these people. Like, he knew generations of people who were pretty good, and now they're dead.
And now they're
and
gone.
now they have to repopulate the world, right? Like, I feel like this would be so much more interesting. And these chapters that come after what we have in the trilogy are also very brief. So there's really no reason not to like flesh these out if we're already fleshing out the other ones. Like, I get conceptually that Tim Chaffey and Kay Marie probably went into this thinking like, okay, we're going to basically write these novels as a prequel to our theme park.
Yes.
But the theme park also stops at a certain point, so it also raises the question of what happens after the theme park. So why not have that?
I don't know if the demographic we're going for can bear the curse of Ham and having to repopulate the earth.
Well, they should. The whole point of this is that they're trying to like depict in its complexity the Old Testament, and like Christians are like supposed to like wrestle with that or whatever, right?
And
so let them wrestle.
They're dwelling in such comfortable certainty and
perhaps
omitting the more exciting, interesting, dark things that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny that a book 3 without a Nama would be a hard sell. But we could always do a Nightbane like before chapter segment where it's like,
what's the before chapter gonna be? Like Nama said as she drowns.
She's drowning. Well, no, she's underwater with the Lost King. She's fighting off all the chained up underwater zombies.
What if they make a book 4? Book 4 about
Do you want a 4th one?
I don't, but I'm sure someone out here does.
Okay, it's viable, I suppose.
I'm thinking about like what has happened hitherto, and I'm just struck with like what I remember of this book is just strings of dumb conversations, and occasionally Nama shows up, which is why I made you do the summaries for these, because they just don't remember exactly what happens.
I mean, I had a really hard time too, especially with the second one. I don't know if this came through in the. You did a really good job editing our video on the second one together, but there were parts of that where I was like, because it really is like so much talking, and then at the very end, which also happens in this one actually, now that I think of it, like there's the gladiator fight, there's like multiple rounds of fighting. Tubal Cain dies really suddenly, and Nama is like bereaved, but like that's like basically everything that matters happens in like 30 pages, and then the preceding 250 are like, can I take your hat, sir? Let me hold the door for you, ma'am. Right. I'm Noah, and I'm very pleasant.
Right. Okay, so condensation and consolidation would probably be the best path forward for this entire series. Consolidations of characters especially. It's just there's way too many people on the screen at any one given time.
There really are.
I don't know a way around that other than get rid of these fucking characters. They don't matter. They're gonna die. It doesn't fucking matter.
If they're gonna be there, we need to like really capitalize on the tragedy.
Right.
I would feel like we weren't doing our due diligence if I didn't point out that we need to have character arcs.
Okay.
Because none of our point of view characters have arcs in this novel. Not one. Nama has a character, a little, but she never like goes like up down the other side of it, because she dies, and that's fine. That's fine for her, I think, because she has to die tragically. Sort of the conceit dictates it.
Yeah.
But Noah, at least, and ideally Amzara as well, they need arcs. They need to actually like change and be challenged and grow. They don't have to grow positively. Amzara could be like, I actually hate that this happened, and I'm like really questioning my faith. We don't know if that's what happened to Noah's wife in the Bible, because she's not really a character.
Right.
She's more of a concept.
Yeah.
So it's viable.
A noun.
Noah, I don't think can have that interesting of a storyline, but like
he totally could.
He could.
I
mean, the whole thing in chapter 8 with like him being in his tent and seeing his nakedness and then like lashing out at his sons and like cursing them, that has always struck me as something that would only happen to somebody who is like deeply traumatized. Like he seems unstable in that scene, which would make
sense.
Fucking a lot of sense.
Yeah. So have him just have a lot of trauma. Something that kind of came up when you were talking about your dumb idea for Ariel, of her just like pretending and being evil.
Conflict between us. Yeah, my idea was
right.
So dumb.
Yes, dumb. This is not a suggestion for me because I don't want it, but I was expecting the entire time I was reading this for the arc to be burned down in some stage of development by some bad actor.
They have to start
like
over.
they have to start over, and then that increases the tension somehow, because I was still at the very end in complete denial that there would be tension in this book somewhere, and that doesn't happen. But I kind of wonder with the people like Perlek or whoever the hell, Elam, or shut up, it doesn't matter.
Didn't say anything.
Talking to myself. I try to remember all these character names. It doesn't matter. There are people who are like, oh yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like think it would be the, what the fuck? I don't really necessarily
Skinnamarink while we're trying to record this.
What was I saying?
You were saying that you
so
there needs
scared.
to be a character that like desperately doesn't want to die.
Yeah, okay. All these characters are like, oh, I don't want to die, but it's okay.
Yeah, everyone's so blasé.
I'll go to heaven. And I just kind of wish, like, before Perlek leaves or something, he was like, I really don't want to die. I think you're crazy. He doesn't have to be anti-creator. He just has to be like, you are continuously go away for long periods of time and come back saying that God has talked to you. Yeah. You sound like an insane person, and I gotta get rid of this somehow. Like, this is not going to go well for anyone, and burn the arc down and have them make them start over again.
Right. No, I'm totally with you. Like, we need somebody, if not to react with anger, then at least to like Shinji pose in despair and like the fact that they're gonna die. I think a really like ripe opportunity for that is when Noah is talking to his brother back home. I think if we introduce a third element into that scene, like maybe a family member that Noah knows less well, somebody who can be less reasonable than the brother, who, I mean, reasonably unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
Like they can be like, that's fucking crazy, like why would you say that? Just to show us what you're talking about. Like I think a character who maybe is closer to Noah would be better for what you're suggesting. But if we're just trying to get this beat in there, then this would be a good way of having that box just like sort of checked.
Yeah.
Like in a,
And again, I don't really want this kind of like fake all is lost a moment. It's one of those Joseph Campbell things. I was just kind of expecting it would happen, and it doesn't. And that kind of makes me think about Misha. I don't know if I just like memed on Misha in like the discussion of the first book, so she sticks out in my head more than she actually was there. But like, she's in book 1 and book 3, and she doesn't have any discussion about whether or not she's going to die. She was like the beloved sister of Noah. I thought it would matter.
Oh, right. The child sister, right?
Yeah, the child. Yeah. Well, she's an adult now, I guess.
Right. Oh,
but
the little kid.
Yeah, the little kid in book 1 and grew up off screen. I think they have some kind of tearful reunion.
Yeah, they do.
Then what?
Right.
Then what?
That would be gut-wrenching, if she's the one who's like, I don't believe you.
You always told me you'd protect me, Noah. Why would you stop protecting me? Have a little chitsy cloying moment like that.
So anime.
Come on, it would work.
No, it would work, and especially for the target demographic.
Sure.
I mean, it's already a rather sentimental book, and its depictions of, I don't know, like this idealized version of like small town life.
Yeah.
I would like to see more like cultural conflict between the Havilites and the Nodites.
Yes.
Because the Nodites are just like this mystery element up until the beginning of this book. Like, we know they exist. We know they're not particularly creatoristic in their religion.
Extremely uncreatoristic.
We know that they're militant, and we know that they're powerful. And then they show up, and then they just get trounced.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of it. Which is so disappointing, because I would love to see, since we mirror other Bible stories, I would love to see a moment where Nama and what is his name? Ichabod. If her and him have like a little god off where they build altars. And they're like, we're going to pray to our gods and see who can light the wet altar on fire better, right?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe they both fail. And so Nama's like, fuck it, blood snake. And then a blood snake eats him.
Yeah, the fact that the Nodites drop off the face of the planet after...
Well, it is a flat disc.
You're right. So I guess they found the edge somehow. The fact that they just like disappear after the battle is bizarre to me. Because... why did you give me such awesome first couple chapters and then not have them come back as a surprise enemy? What if it was like a battle of the five armies thing at the end,
right?
Where we have Naman and the Nodites and then Noah in like the middle of it, and like arrows are narrowly missing the arc or something.
And the angels are like kind of protecting the arc, but they also have to protect the tree.
Right, so there's a little bit more.
Split.
Yeah. See how you could just like bullshit and then you come up with cooler situations.
See how if you think about it for even like 2 seconds and you're kind of drunk and it's like a weeknight,
right,
you can actually just write a better book.
And they have no excuse because they're also two authors, are the Tim and K. Marie.
Right.
So it's not like we are sounding
They're
board.
two fucking idiots in small town America like us. Like,
Right.
it's really not that hard.
We're exactly the same.
The thing about the Nodites that makes me care about them at all initially is that, like you said, they're evil, but they're honorable and they're evil.
Right.
Like Ichabod or whatever is like, I'm totally not going to betray you, Noah. You just have to lead my men into this dark tunnel where no one knows where you are and you'll be totally alone. And then we'll let you go. We'll even give you like an official piece of paperwork that says you're free to go.
Please don't attack this person.
And then they just do.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that kind of endears me to them in a way. And it's like, I don't want to be endeared to them necessarily because they're about to go kill a whole bunch of people in this little town. But I am, because like, well, they stand for something. And it just makes me think like there's more opportunity to show us the ways in which man falls short when left to his own devices, right? Like in the Havilites, we've got like pride, because Lamech is always portrayed as prideful.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, we have pride, and then we also have just sort of like Satanism more generally, and then also atheism, which I guess sort of folds into pride. And then in Iri Geshem, we have decadence.
Yeah.
What do we have in the Nodites? Like what sin do they represent, right?
Do they practice cannibalism?
Probably, but like
So
off
gluttony?
screen, I guess. Yeah, but it's right. We could do that.
I guess he could have an encounter with all of the 7 deadly sins if we really wanted that. It's kind of a fool's errand because any addition of screen time for the Nodites is going to be ultimately for the best because they're interesting.
Right.
It's cool that things are happening with them, and they're not in the rest of the book, so you're already improving it by slapping a Nodite on the page. By them
just being there.
Right.
Yeah, especially with them having been built up for the first 2 books.
Yeah. When Noah got captured at the end of book 2, I was like, oh shit, it's really gonna go down.
Yeah. But then no, he just gets right out of that.
Right. Sprinkle some more Nodites in there.
Do you think that Noah's like contract that says he's free to go from the Nodites is preserved somewhere in the geologic column? Like wherever the ark is? Do you think that that's like in a desk drawer somewhere? We'll find it and it'll be written on a piece of parchment like
like in the Burgess Shale?
General Ichabod says Noah is free to go. And then like when we find it, all the atheists in the world will fall to their knees and weep, but it'll be too late because the fountains of the deep will already be bursting forth again.
I'm pretty sure something similar happened with the Nag Hammadi library, so probably. So at the end of the day, this is kind of the easiest and the hardest book to critique and to rewrite and to make better. Because on one hand, there are many cases where the things that are bad could have been fixed by literally anything.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, this book has a very specific agenda and is abiding by certain parameters to which we are not beholden. And I think we are just at a complete impasse with this book.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read it, but more than I'm glad that I read it, I am so glad that this series is over and I never have to think about it again.
What about the Imzara spinoff?
Oh, the Imzara spinoff and the Nama before chapters of her drowning slowly in a giant world-spanning ocean. It is so bizarre, like the fact that I look back on some of these books so fondly and then I actually read them and they're terrible. And I don't know what that says about me. Probably nothing good.
Well, we have sort of a tradition when it comes to this trilogy, and that is committing a heresy at the end.
Yes.
We're going to do another tarot reading.
Okay, I'll get my blood out. These are like pointy. I can get blood and like drip it on the
I would
tarot
actually
cards.
prefer if you didn't do that.
They have
I
like plastic protectors on them. You're fine.
Okay, actually, yeah, no, you're true. Since they're covered in plastic already, your blood will do them no harm.
My mid-condition tarot cards.
We talked about Battle of the Five Armies, we talked about some other ways that we could potentially end this thing. I think I want to do a reading for like an alternative ending. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll draw the first one.
Okay.
And go from there. And then as we did with our Dungeon Crawler Carl episode, I'm not going to tell you what the cards mean all at once. I'll let you just sort of build your own story based on what the card visually depicts.
Okay.
And I mean, that's really the truest way to do tarot.
Truly.
I think. Where do we want to start the ending? Like, where are we beginning our reinterpretation from?
Ooh, okay.
My thought would be Nama has just learned the location of the Ark from Perlek.
Okay.
And Noah is like near finishing the project.
That's earlier than I would have said, but I'll accept that.
Okay.
I'll accept that to imbue it with your magical powers. Okay, so Nama has just learned the location of the magical forest of infinite life, and she comes across, okay, the 9 of Pentacles. So this depicts 9
Pentacles.
pentacles, and a dog is okay, sorry, I forgot that camera died. A dog is standing upon it doing some sort of acrobatic trick. Okay.
So if it helps you, pentacles are the suit that depicts the material world. Most commonly, they represent something to do with like wealth, riches, and 9 is like a lot of them.
You know, I'll go back to where I was saying, because I think what she does is she takes her 75,000 people and she marches them through the woods. But instead of that being like pretty easy and no worries at all, the creatures of the forest come out in droves, such as how these 9 pentacles are in this big conflagration and like waylay the army. Like they get attacked by some Grindex and maybe some lions show up, you know. Like the forces of nature,
the animals that are on their way to the Ark, especially the carnivorous ones,
get in the way and start to like raise some havoc.
And that can explain how only 2 of each kind survive, right? Because there's a big fight.
Yes.
And so only
Holy
2
shit.
survive.
Okay, so no, instead of like only 2 going into the battle, it's every
Tons
fucking
of
lion,
animals.
every fucking dinosaur. They got it. Okay, this is the first army, so this shaves off, you know, maybe 5,000 of like Nama's army.
Right.
Okay, I love this. It's great.
So we got the Havilites marching on the Ark. We've got the Nodites, and we've got the animals.
Right. So the animals are yet another army.
I think that's great.
That's good.
Oh, the 7 of Swords.
Okay.
So this card typically represents some kind of like treachery, sometimes more broadly just like scheming or strategy. I'm thinking this is where the Nodites re-enter the scene.
Okay.
I think that Captain Ishmael or whatever the fuck, he dies, but what if that was never him to begin with?
Ooh.
What if that guy was just a guy that the Nodites, who are known for their military strategy, had propped up as their general to see what the Havilites and the Iri Geshemites were capable of? So now, not only do we have Nama and the animals, we also have this like brilliant military strategist entering the final combat. And his whole thing can be, he's kind of allowing the Nodites to like hang back and follow in the wake of the Havilites and the animals fighting. So they clear this path through the wilderness, right? And like there's some, you know, stragglers left behind on either side. The Nodites can like kill them or take them captive or whatever, conscript them. And they're just taking this easy path that's been made by the 2 armies. And he's going to watch and see what happens, because he doubtless also knows that there's some angels waiting for them at the very end.
Okay. I like that. Can I add one little fold?
Please.
So did you mention anything about Nivlak?
I did not.
So that's a key point.
Oh, yeah, Nivlak.
I think there will be an element of betrayal there.
Okay.
You know, the Nodites have to know where the army is somehow. And I've always thought that Nivlak was a little bit too gung-ho about the whole, I'll do anything for you, my queen. I'm your most loyal soldier. You know, it's kind of like the thing with Adina, you know. The more you say something, the more I'm like, okay, you know,
Is she really dead?
Yeah, you're really laying this on heavy. movie. So, okay, so Nivlak is like this double agent and betrays the location of the army. Everything else you say is true, but I think that could be where the betrayal comes from.
Okay, so we've got these three armies converging on Eden / the Ark.
Yeah.
We've got Nivlak, who maybe really loves Nama, but is definitely working for the Nodites.
Sure.
Okay,
we can massage out his motivations.
All right, let's draw this third card.
Okay.
You
Are we
ready?
doing it together?
Let's do it together.
Okay. This one is Z, the Hanged Man.
Ooh, the Hanged Man.
Ooh, it's a bat.
It's a bat.
Okay. What do we know about bats? They're nocturnal or crepuscular?
They're birds, according to the Old Testament.
They're birds according to the Old Testament. Okay.
So the Hanged Man typically represents some kind of change of perspective, or alternatively, a surrender to forces that are beyond one's control.
Whoa, no fucking way.
Yes, fucking way.
No fucking way. This could be, I don't know, maybe this is too cheesy. We don't have to go with this.
Okay, let's
But
iterate.
this is my psychic moment. So, this is for youth group kids, so it can't get too dark. Maybe Nama going back over, the majesty of God's creatures and how they were, summoned with such power. She can make a snake appear or turn from a statue or whatever, but she's never seen this many creatures act with this much unified force.
Let alone this many snakes.
Right.
That she doesn't even control.
Oh, the snakes are also with these are good snakes.
Yeah. Good guy snakes.
So she begins to seek atonement with the Creator, and maybe she hears something.
Oh, so she like reconsiders her point of view, like seeing all the animals, seeing the snakes.
Right.
She's like, oh, there's a being that's more powerful than my God, and I'm a little power hungry, and I want to live forever.
Right.
So I will supplicate myself before
God.
the Creator.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
And Nivlak starts to notice this that's happening on their way to Eden.
Okay.
And then one more card.
One more card.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The Three of Cups. So we got a cat, a Siamese cat, in a sigmoid shape around 3 cups.
Okay. Typically, this card is read as meaning like the result of a fortuitous union.
This is right
It's writing
here.
itself.
This is right here.
This is why Tim and K. Marie, you guys should have used arcane magics to write your Bible book. I think Nama has a change of heart.
Yeah.
And she notices that they're being followed by the Nodites. So she and Ishmael team up, and they unite the Nodite and Havilite forces.
Whoa. Okay.
Uh-huh.
To what end, though?
Oh, it's futile.
Oh.
It's totally futile. Because it's an indication of, like, even man's greatest accomplishments are nothing before God. And if you don't love God truly, if you only are pursuing God, in like a strategic way, like Nama can talk to Ishtavel and be like, you need to convert right now. And he's like, okay, totally. I accept Jesus into my heart, whatever. And they start praying. They're like, we're gonna get on the ark because we'll just like, they work for Nakash, right? Like if we just prostrate ourselves before him, like it'll be fine. But no, because God cares about your heart.
Oh.
Right?
And then
they think it's gonna work, but it doesn't.
And then they watch the waters rise.
Yeah.
And then slowly it begins to crash down.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything goes black.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes hot and orange.
Hot and orange?
Yeah, like hell.
Oh, they're like, oh, it burns, but also, I'm underwater.
That's good. Okay, I like the direction that you took it. And originally what I was conceiving was that Nama would genuinely convert.
Okay.
And literally do the Jesus Christ is my personal savior. I like yours better, but I'll just to round that out.
Yeah, no, let's do yours.
Well, no, just because I wanted the little dumb excuses that Noah makes to Jera during that conversation to like be more foreshadowy. Like if the whole point, according to this book, of the flood was to give people time to think and repent, then why not show that Nama can think and repent? And as the Gospel of Luke tells us, one repentant soul is worth more than 99 others who were perfect. And we close out on this really nice prosperity gospel message, and everyone goes home feeling okie dokie.
And we end, final scene.
Okay.
We have like an epilogue. Flash forward, the year is 2020X. We have some archaeologists digging in the Near East.
Okay.
And what do they find but a crown shaped like a serpent? And they're like, my God. Oh, I'm sorry, I took the Lord's name in vain. They're like, oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
This crown is so anachronistic. It proves that there was an ancient society 6,000 years ago that was originally satanic but converted to creatorianity. And now everybody on Earth is going to be convinced by this irrefutable evidence that God is true.
Yes. And a society that could create this crown must have used pens and ink to write.
Exactly. And it's all because Nama converted that it gets to be her grave goods that convert the world to Jesus belief.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's the thing that comes out of the union.
And it brings you right back like a union to the present. I hope that was helpful to you, Tim and K-Marie.
And not a moment too late.
Right?
Not like this book has been out for like 10 years.
This series is over. I never have to think about it again, but God knows I'll be making a bunch of dumb jokes about it in every episode coming up. But I don't think there's anything else to say.
God be with you till we meet again.
Amen. I will see you across the altar.
I'll see you across the aisle.
Across the aisle. Hey, okay, let's go. Episode over.
Went back in a time machine. Now so did Jenny, Daddy would scream. Me so sweet when they were chewing on your meat. Me come falling down to run around me, thought me. If I'm next Justin, I think it's kinda neat. The earth is made of dinosaur chin. All a bunch of monkeys just dance around on it. I got nowhere to go, except for an blue. I'll dig you up in a million years and put your bones on show. Race for a dot wander. Where did the events go?